Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of The Market Open. It is Friday, December 6th, 8:48 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we are here once again to analyze the global capital equity markets. And folks, it has been quite the week in the stock market. Today in the pre-markets already, we are seeing some pretty incredible things, and this is going to end out the first week of December for stocks. And after this, we got about 3 weeks left, and then we're done with 2024, which is kind of crazy to even think of. S&P 500 inclusion will be announced today. I'll be live on the market close all the way until probably 6 o'clock, but 5:30, 5:15, I think we're going to get the numbers. I think there is a decent shot that Robinhood gets included into the S&P 500 today. And if that happens, that is obviously going to be a very, very big deal. That's going to be important. So we'll see kind of the implications of what that means on Robinhood. Yesterday, Palantir had a bit of an event that you guys might have seen. This was the reason I was in New York yesterday, and I stayed an extra day after the Robinhood event, because after the Robinhood event, we had the Palantir event. And it was a really, really cool event for those that checked it out. I'll talk about what happened yesterday, but got to meet the man himself, Alex Karp, for the fourth time this year. I was like, Karp, this is our fourth picture together. And he was like, I know, I'm really happy that you keep showing up. And so it was really, really fun event. Awesome stuff. I'll tell you guys what happened at the event. I was live tweeting it all of yesterday. So I said yesterday to follow me on Twitter because you would get all the updates. And pretty much all of yesterday, there was a rock band, Palantir employees. There was a party. They had all these different achievements. We had demos. By the way, this video, for those who have never seen what it looks like to build an ontology, this video right here on my Twitter, 13 minutes, it's worth a watch just to kind of see what it looks like. You had Karp on freaking Fox Business. I mean, look at what he said at the end of this interview.
That is our Christmas present. Happy Merry Seasons, whatever you celebrate. Please, and to all supporters of Palantir, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year's. And to all people who hated on us, enjoy your call.
Just an epic day. And then there was a bunch of presentations with AT&T. You had Karp talking, had some pictures right here. So really, really cool event. I'll talk more about it in a bit. But yeah, that's where I was yesterday. Got to go to the event, see what it was like, kind of cover the entire event, meet a lot of the leadership there, talk to them. And yeah, so we have that. We have a new partnership this morning with Palantir and Booz Allen Hamilton. We'll talk about that. And Shield AI, they announced yesterday. So we had two different partnerships basically within 24 hours. And the stock, from my understanding, is hitting all-time highs in the pre-market. That is correct. Now we got to hold 73. We can't ring the bell yet for 73. We got to hold it at 930. But we are currently at 73.37, folks, in the pre-market. Palantir is up another 2% right now. 70s was not enough. We are continuing to go higher. And so at 930, we're going to kind of see how that plays out. But you got Palantir right there up about 2%. Likely because of the announcements that were made yesterday in terms of the new partners that were announced. So exciting stuff. And then to top it all off, you got freaking Tesla. I told you guys when I start DCAing next year, it's probably going to be at 400. And I think I'm going to be right about that. Tesla's at $378 right now in the pre-markets, up 2.9%. It closed at $369 yesterday, which was amazing, but it closed at its highest level in over 3 years. And you're up even higher today in the pre-markets. It was up 3% yesterday. It's up 2% today. Even Elon getting his compensation package revoked by the judge was not enough to get Tesla to not be at these levels. And so it's just pretty incredible to see what's happening with these companies. And this market continues to want to go higher. All right, here we go. We got a market open to do. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I'm back in my element, back in the studio, back with the bricks, the real bricks that were verified by Roy, who got to join me this week. So you guys know that he's an objective third party. And there we go. Did you drink last night? I did not drink. I really don't drink at like company events. There was a lot of drinks, there was like a lot of cocktails and all that stuff. I don't really like doing that. I don't like walking around, drinking at these types of company events. But the employees and stuff, I'm assuming they had fun and they drank and all that stuff. But it was a fun event, dude. It was really cool. All right, so let's talk about the event, and I'll give you guys like my 2 cents on it, and then we'll keep going from there. First of all, thank you everybody for being here today. We got Gene, Julie, Nolan, Daniel, Martin. Is it true that you stay at the same hostel as the assassin? No, I don't think I stay at the same hostel. George, Samir, what's up? Broccoli Bob, Ty Zuko, Elton, mid-stocking Karp. No, this was really fun. All right, I'll tell you guys how the Karp story yesterday and on what we talked about. So I'll tell you that in a second, but it was really funny. Tom, what's up? Melanie, I'm beneficial. Ramu, I actually did not oversleep today. I woke up at 7:45. Now I am very drowsy because I slept at 5 a.m. yesterday. So I don't think I got enough sleep over the past couple of days. But I'm here, and you guys give me the excitement to keep doing this. But I did get some sleep last night. I slept at like 10 o'clock last night. And so got some sleep. M1, Nick, Samir, what's up, what's up, what's up? Keg. We got Jaja here, Joshua, Baskar, Ashish, Base, Nolan. Thank you, everybody, for being here this morning. Lisa, Philip, Michelle. I missed listening to you the other day. Look, Michelle, I missed talking the other day because I love talking. So I'm happy you missed listening to me talk because I miss talking as well. So thank you for being here. Midwest, what's up? What's up? Raul. All right, let's get started. So yesterday was pretty cool. So I'm at the event. I'm there like 4 hours early. I'm getting stuff ready. I get to meet a lot of Palantir's leadership. I get to, talk to them. Ted, Akshay, Ryan, for those that are familiar with the leadership, you guys probably know these guys. It was super awesome just getting to see them. And then Karp walks in. So I'm in the New York City office and I'm chilling with my boy Peter, who's like helping run the social media stuff. There's Ryan Taylor right there, Chief Revenue Officer, Akshay, Chief Architect. And then you got Ted, who's the global head of commercial at Palantir. All three of these guys just absolutely awesome and super, super cool. So I'm sitting there and I'm just like, minding my business, talking with Peter. I see Karp walks in and Karp has this aura, it's Karp. Like, you just, and he's just like, he's like, I would say 30 feet away from me. So he's over there talking to some people. I'm over here and, I'm just like chilling, doing my thing. And then about 5 minutes later, Karp like walks all the way around. And again, like, I'm not trying to go up to him. I'm not trying to interrupt him. That's like, if he wants to say hi to me, that's great. But I'm not going to like go out of my way because he's a busy guy, right? Like, I just like, you don't want to interrupt people like that. Let them do their thing. And then this was the coolest thing, guys. I like, this was just like, it was one of those things where it's just like, it was really cool. He sees me across the room and he's like, Amit. And I'm like, who is this guy? And he was like, you're here. Now the party can start. And I was just like, yo, this is wild, bro. And so he walks up to me. We talk, shakes my hand, and he's just like, he's in the happiest mood ever. Like, when I mean happiest mood ever, and I thought he was happy at AIPCon in September. That's when we did the video, right, where he was like, fuck yeah, after I said you got into the SP 500. He was happy this time, like just like smiling from ear to ear, happy about me being there. He was really happy that I was there, and he was happy that like I was there covering the event and just like being part of the whole ecosystem. And it was just really cool because like, and same thing that happened with Vlad. I think I told you guys this yesterday. Vlad's investor relations dude was like, Vlad would have been like super annoyed if like you and Tanner and Roy weren't here because like he would just be talking to JP Morgan for like 3 hours or Bank of America, right? So like he wants a retail shareholder base that's actually present there. Like it makes it more fun, right? It makes it less corporate. And so, Karp was really happy. And then I got to talk to Karp. And, I was like, Karp, I was in my room 3 years ago just making videos about your company. And now I'm here. And Karp was like, I know you were. I know you were there. I know you were there early believing. I know you were part of this journey. I know you've been here. And I was like, Karp, I've got like regular people reaching out to me, nurses, policemen that are up 10x on the stock. And he was like, that just makes me the happiest in the world that's happening. He's like, that he's like, there's nothing else I can say. It makes him the happiest in the world. So it was really, really cool. We got to talk for about 5-10 minutes. And that's when we took that picture. And that's when I was like, yo, this is like our 4th picture of the year. And he was just like, yeah, I'm happy you keep showing up to these events. And it was funny when he said, now that you're here, the party can get started. Like, it was like, because he's just acknowledging every time they have some event, I just show up somehow. Like, I'm just randomly, like, I don't think he doesn't know that I'm there, right? He doesn't handle like event scheduling or any of this stuff. They have a woman named Sasha, who's the head of corporate development there. And she's amazing. And she like handles all this stuff. And she's the one who gets me out to these events. And, he shows up to the events. I'm just there. And then he's like, all right, cool, you're here. So it was really cool, really special. I got to talk to him. He's obviously very excited about, the momentum in the business. And you guys saw that Fox News interview where he was basically saying like, hey, we have created something that the world is realizing matters. And the market has obviously realized they've created something that really matters, AKA the ontology. And now that the market's starting to realize that, it's kind of Palantir's moment. It's Palantir's time. I think after 20 years, when you dedicate your life and soul to something and the whole world is like finally ready to give you the shine that you believed you deserved for 20 years, and it happens, you embrace that moment if you're someone who executes. And that's what we're having with Alex Karp right now. So that's what happened yesterday when I met with Karp. Then I got to meet with a lot of leadership, a lot of the different people that work at Palantir. I talked to a lot of employees just in terms of their sentiment. And they were like, look, obviously the stock is up a lot and that it makes us excited, but that also creates a lot of pressure because like, we have to fucking work hard to like live up to the expectations. So I think all of them are pretty motivated. They all understand that it did happen quicker than I mean, same thing with investors, right? I think we all thought 70 would happen eventually. We didn't think it would happen in the span of 2 years. And all the employees understand that as well. But I think for them, they're just so head down and focused. One of the guys told me during the last earnings, like if you go through their office where they have the earnings call, everyone was just coding. And then they looked up, they saw the stock was up. They're like, cool. And then they went back to coding. He was like, that was the vibe. He was like, no one was celebrating or throwing a party. Like on my stream, we had 7,000 people fucking like just going crazy when the stock was up 20%. I think that was when we went from 40, like 48. And all the employees were just like, okay, cool, the stock's up. We got to get back to work. That's the mentality there. And that has to be the mentality. If you're a company with only 4,000 employees, you have to have so much value per employee to actually generate results. And that's what you have with Palantir. So overall, amazing event, really fun. A lot of pictures and tweets I put out yesterday on the daily Palantir account as well. Also, they're going to be releasing a ton of videos of customer presentations that were great. And if you guys want to see any more of the pictures and stuff like that, you can just scroll through the daily Palantir account feed. That was Carp. That was Sasha, who's just amazing because she got me out to that event. You had Palantir employees have a rock band. I mean, they're just so talented. It was super cool stuff. I found a helpful napkin for any player hater tears. So that was nice as well. You had all these different like photos they had on the wall. It was kind of a celebration of 2024. That's what it really was. And they had this big alley you could walk through. And in this alley, you can see this right here. They had all these different accomplishments they had. Joined the S&P 500 right there. So it was kind of an end of year celebration with their customers, presenting kind of what they're doing. A little bit of a mini AIP con to an extent. And it was really cool. It was really cool. There was Hess, there's AT&T's Ontology. Like there's just a lot of stuff. They had different demos. They had a little quiz for Palantir. Again, really, really cool stuff. If you guys want to check it out, just scroll through the daily Palantir account. I posted all that stuff, even on my account. I posted a bunch of stuff. And awesome event. What was my parents' reaction to you meeting Carp again? Dude, my parents are desensitized to this stuff at this point. Like I came home last night at like 10 p.m. and I talked to my parents about the event and they were super happy. My mom's super happy about it and stuff. But like, it's just like, all right, this is his life. Like this is what he's doing now, right? And they kind of just like got conditioned to it. And hopefully we take this further in 2025 and we keep going with this momentum. But yeah, parents are happy. And I don't think they ever expected it to be like this, but it's just kind of what it's like right now. Chris CRM says, I mean, what would you say the culture is at Palantir at a high level? I think the culture well, here's the best word to describe the culture: autonomy, right? And I've talked about this in the past, but a lot of employees I talk to as well, they're like, we don't really have a path in terms of what we do. We get an assignment, we have to create value, and then we go figure out what we have to do. And that leads to people doing so many. I mean, there was an engineer yesterday that was acting as the photographer for the event. Like, that's what I mean by people are multifaceted and they do all these different things, right? He had a professional camera, even though he's an engineer, and he's taking all these photos. It's like people do whatever they need to do to provide value. And that's how you get actual maximum productivity out of only 4,000. 4,000 employees is nothing, bro. That each employee is contributing. Like, if you divide it by the market cap, I don't know what the number comes out to be, but it's something ridiculous in the millions per employee just in terms of market cap. And then if you look at that in terms of revenue as well, it's incredible because they're doing about $2.8 billion of revenue. So I think it's like 30 million employee or something per revenue. Like, the amount of productivity they're getting from these employees is massive, and they need to if you only have 4,000 of them. But that's also why that stock-based comp, in my opinion, makes sense, because obviously the company is improving as well with a small amount of employees. So pretty incredible. That's what we had at the Palantir event. Its mom, it's like we still have plumbing problems. We actually do, and I think the plumber is going to be coming today. So, but this time they're just putting down tiles, so hopefully it's not like banging or anything like that. But yeah, it's so funny. We talked about plumbing last night. She's like, so by the way, the plumber's coming tomorrow. Like, all right, mom. But yeah, dude, super blessed, super grateful, super excited. 2 events back to back: Robinhood event, Palantir event. Week was pretty awesome, and getting to speak to someone like Vlad and his leadership team, and then Carp and his leadership team it's just really special. And I'm very blessed to be covering these 2 companies. Obviously, grateful. I decided these were 2 companies that I wanted to be associated with, and I couldn't imagine that these companies would go on the journey that they're going on. But we're here. And so, just kind of embracing the moment, and glad to take you all along with me on this journey as well. Congratulations on 50K subs. Thank you for that as well. We were at, I think 47 like 2 weeks ago. So yeah, subscribers are going up. Thank you, Melanie, for that. Thank you, everyone who said congratulations on that. That is super awesome. Just got to keep working. Got to keep working. Can't get too high on your own supply. Got to keep getting better and better and better. And, just, it's a multi-year journey at this point. 50,000 is amazing right now. It's a big accomplishment, but I think eventually it'll be much bigger if we can keep executing. And that's kind of the goal right now, and just got to keep going. All right. So that was the update on the Palantir event. Let's get into what else is going on in the market. So we do have some macro news this morning. I feel like I'm missing so much news because so much has happened over the past couple of days, but like I've just been so out of it. just because I've been at these events, but a lot of stuff has happened. So first of all, we had a jobs number today, guys. The United States added 227,000 jobs in November versus 220,000 expected. So we added a ton of new jobs, which is very important. And then the unemployment rate came in at 4.2%, slightly above expectations, about 4.1%. So I think 4.1% to 4.2, I don't think that's that big of a deal from my understanding of it. It's like, it's good. It's not bad. It's not good, even though I know it looks like it's going higher. I think that has to do with something of the denominator of the jobs that we have. But we added 227,000 more jobs. So now I'm checking this for the first time. Let's check the CME watch tool in terms of the rate cut probabilities. Let's see what we're looking at. Wow, 87 to 12. Interesting. So most people would say that number should go down because we added too many jobs, which means there's going to be a little bit too much inflation, or inflation could be stickier. However, because the unemployment rate actually went up from 4.1 to 4.2, again, I don't really know why. It's probably some technical reason why the unemployment rate went up. That is probably why we're looking at almost 90% versus 10% on the probabilities for a rate cut, which is actually really good, because basically, what did Jay Powell say on the New York Times conference a couple days ago? He said the reason we cut by 50 bips in September was because we wanted to send a signal to the market that we we're going to be very supportive of labor and of a labor market that could be weakening. And so it really, he said, it wasn't about inflation. It was about making sure that people don't lose their jobs, and the Fed is going to do whatever they can do to support that. If the unemployment rate goes up, even though we added more jobs than expected, I think that's a signal to the market. The Fed's going to look at that. They're going to say, no, we cannot have that unemployment rate get even close to 5%. We're going to cut rates. That's great for the market. Now, is that great for inflation? I don't know. I think it's going to take a few months for us to figure out what the long-term effects are going to be of inflation. But at the end of the day, it does seem like the Fed is going to be cutting rates in December. We have that rate cut meeting in 12 days, guys. And so, this market's been doing very well. If we get another rate cut, although it's probably priced in, that's something that the markets are going to like. And that's obviously going to be very important as well. Amit, look at your Twitter DM. This will explain why. Okay. So here is what Chris sent me. This is a chart. Let's see what this chart is. U.S. unemployment, permanent job losses, number of employed on temporary layoffs. Okay, so what we're looking at here is the number of permanent jobs that are being lost versus the number of people on temporary layoffs, which obviously went up a lot in 2020, 2021. That number is down significantly. If you can see the blue line on the chart. Yeah, I mean, that is fair. That is fair. As that blue line continues to go down in terms of permanent job losses, those are people that are like not getting their job again. That means the Fed has to cut rates, because we cannot have Facebook say, hey, we're firing 10,000 people and we have no plans to hire those 10,000 people again, because then those 10,000 people are looking for a job. And if they can't find a job, then they're just unemployed. They're straight up unemployed. And if you're straight up unemployed, that's not going to be good for the economy. As a result, the 10-year, I don't know if you guys have been taking a look at that. Look at that sucker. This thing was almost touching 4.3 last week. It's at 4.139. 4.139. That 10-year is falling, as Chris says, because permanent job losses are climbing. So right here, again, the people that have been calling for a recession, they've been wrong in 2024, and I don't think we're necessarily going to have it in 2024. But in 2025, if we have a recession, it will not be because of inflation. It will be because of jobs. Now, there's a lot of layers to this. I agree that Alex says right here in the chat. Do you believe that these are real jobs? That's the first layer. Do you believe that a lot of these jobs are government jobs? Do you think that these jobs are replaceable? Do you think that multiple people have multiple jobs? Therefore, yes, we have 220,000 more jobs, but if Sally has 5 different jobs, then does that really count as 5 different people actually having jobs and having more money that they can spend in the economy? So I think it's going to take a few months for us to figure out what exactly were the results of the numbers we got during the Biden administration in terms of the job losses and the unemployment numbers every week and the initial jobs claims. And then what does that look like in the Trump administration? Do we have more initial job losses? Do we have less initial job losses? Do we just unleash so much growth in the economy that people just get so many more jobs because the economy is growing, and like we have this renaissance that's Reagan-esque? Like, I think it's going to take a few months to figure that out. But as of now, the market is priced for a world where we don't have a recession, where inflation is not that big of a concern, and where jobs are plentiful, and where people want to get hired to work. And it looks like that's what's happening right now. Currently at least in the state of the markets. S&P 500 right here, 607. We hit almost 6,009 yesterday on the S&P 500, which is incredible. The Qs are at 522 in the pre-markets. IWM small caps have not really had the most help. I mean, the large cap tech has done way better than small cap over the past week. And maybe it's because a lot of people are just saying, you know what, at the end of the day, we're going to go to safety. We're going to go to Google, Amazon, Microsoft. These are companies that actually we know we're going to be around, and we're not going to take that much of a risk on small caps, especially if rates don't come down as quick. Meta right here is at 609. Amazon broke out nicely yesterday. Amazon, look at this, all-time highs on Amazon at 221. Absolutely incredible. And then Nvidia made a little bit of a comeback into that 145 range from 130 last week as well. Speaking of the economy and what the market thinks can happen in regards to the Trump administration, someone was named by the Trump administration yesterday to be a key leader in the overall ecosystem around crypto and AI. And ladies and gentlemen, that is David Sachs. David Sachs. I got to give Steve credit on this one. Steve called me after the election and he said, Sachs and Chamath are going to have a role in this administration. Now, let's see if that happens for Chamath. But Sachs is in. For those that don't know David Sachs, he's on the All In podcast, billionaire, investor, entrepreneur. I mean, he's been in the crypto AI ecosystem for a very long time. Fun fact, if anyone has Solana, congrats. David Sachs seed funded Solana. Like he was the first check into Solana. So if you've got some Solana bags, I think Sachs might help to get those higher. But Donald Trump said, I'm pleased to announce that David O. Sachs will be the White House AI and crypto czar. And David said, thank you, Mr. President. I am honored and grateful for the trust you have placed in me. I look forward in advancing American competitiveness in these critical technologies. Under your leadership, the future is bright. I like it. I like the choice. I think David Sachs, although everyone doesn't agree with him on everything, first of all, I'm comparing him to the alternative. The alternative of someone who could be the crypto and AI czar, meaning someone who actually understands cryptocurrency and AI. And, you don't have to agree with Sachs on everything, but he's been in tech for 30 years. I mean, he understands a lot of these different emerging technologies, has made a lot of good investments, some bad investments as well. But nonetheless, he is a VC. You have some you miss, you have some you win. I think him advising, again, he's a VC. He's not a big tech guy. So when he's thinking of AI policy, I don't think he's going to be trying to come up with some policy that helps Microsoft get richer. He's financially incentivized to make sure that his craft VC fund has regulations that are applicable to his AI startups so that he can make money off those investments, which means the regulations need to be friendly to smaller companies, to little tech versus big tech. And so I think that's going to be very important. I think that's going to be very, very important. And I think that's also going to be beneficial at the end of the day for the broader ecosystem when it comes to startups, for small companies that are trying to innovate, for AI companies, and also for crypto. I mean, look, you might not like Solana, you might not like some of David Sachs' crypto picks, but he understands the crypto ecosystem. He's a proponent of the crypto ecosystem. And so if you care about Bitcoin, you care about all that good stuff, it looks like Sachs could play a big role. I think the broader thing here to take away from this is the fact that Trump is actually picking these people to give him advice over some random dude who worked at Goldman Sachs to give him advice on crypto and AI. That's special. That's important. And the question is going to be, what does that look like for policies? And then ultimately, what does that look like for the market when you've got a company like Coinbase that hopefully wants certain regulations that could help them? And David Sachs is at the helm of the administration. So I think it's a good pick. And ultimately, we're going to see kind of what it turns out to be. Now, Bitcoin right here, transitioning to Bitcoin, 98,600. I know everyone was pretty upset yesterday. I saw this. I mean, I was pretty busy yesterday, but I saw this nasty decline. And yeah, take a look at that. 104 to 92. I think $400 million of crypto, or of Bitcoin in particular, got liquidated yesterday. Meaning those people were leveraged long and they couldn't afford to have Bitcoin go below a certain price. And then it did. And then they got hit. Now that candle lasted for like a couple minutes and then it rebounded back up to like 95. So it was a very quick flush. But the fact that we went from 104 to 98, I think it took the wind out of a lot of people's momentum because they were like, wait a second, we're at 100. Everything's amazing. Everything's great. We're doing great. And then it just went away. MicroStrategy, this one has been a tough emotional ride for a lot of people as well. Look at MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy hit 455 in the overnight markets when Bitcoin was 100,000. Then it opened where you see this nasty red candle all the way down, could barely move up as Bitcoin was going up yesterday. And now MicroStrategy is at 392, which is nice. It's not bad. Obviously, it was at 220 in November 5th. So you're getting a big bump since then. But it's not the, oh my God, it's going to $700 when Bitcoin's 100,000. That is not what's happened. So with crypto, I mean, I don't know. I think it's just the volatility of it. There's no really way to justify going back down from 100,000. I think we'll be back at 100,000, but the fact that we got over it, we stayed over it for a good, 15 hours before we fell again. I think that's important. And hopefully that continues to just be part of the broader crypto landscape over the next 4 years. It'll be a bumpy ride, but I do think we will be above 100,000 as we continue to go further. Amit, we should discuss if Doge fires Fed employees and impact on the market. Whom should we invite as a guest on the subject? You know, that's a good point, and I'll try to find some people that could talk more about that. In general, I do think that if Doge fires a ton of people, and Elon, we got some pictures of him yesterday. He was at Congress kind of talking about everything that was going on. Yeah, that will be a big deal for unemployment. And if that's a big deal for unemployment, that could be potentially bad for the economy. But at the end of the day, the savings that the government get could be good from it. So I think there's a lot of nuances to this. This is Elon sitting with Senator John Thune discussing the implications and potential for what Doge could be like. And as you can see right here, Elon and Vivek were at DC yesterday. They are actually getting this done. They are like really talking with Congress people, senators, trying to figure out how do we navigate this Doge commission that's not really a government agency to become something that's going to be monumental and important in cleaning up the government and trying to figure it out. So I think this is going to be really exciting. It's going to be a crazy, crazy, crazy couple weeks. And then on top of all of that, I saw this yesterday. And at that point, I was just like, I don't even know what to do anymore. Roaring Kitty is back. What the hell is this? Like, I still don't know. What the heck is this? Like, what is this? What is this? This is ridiculous. Like, it's just, I don't know. This is a 2006 cover from Time Magazine around YouTube. This looks like YouTube because this is what YouTube looked like back in 2006. And the cover of the magazine was you. And the whole idea was that you are the information age. Now you can broadcast yourself. That's YouTube's actually headline, broadcast yourself. And this is a 2006 Time Magazine cover. People are saying that he made some trades on GameStop. So this is the unusual options tracker that kind of saw what he did. And people are saying this is ultimately what Roaring Kitty did and that he's back in GameStop. But let me know if you guys think it's a different stock that you're thinking of. So Roaring Kitty came back after tweeting after not tweeting for months. Someone loaded up GameStop $35 calls expiring tomorrow, which is 29% out of the money in one day. That means the stock would have to go up 30% for that to be in the money. Volume on chain beforehand, non-existent besides covered calls, and suddenly someone wanted it in at 7 cents per contract at ask. Tweet comes in, contracts unload at 60 cents minutes later, which is a 8x, 800% return in basically 50 minutes, turning 25,000 into nearly 300,000. Now, granted, would Roaring Kitty get into a trade and do all this hoopla to make 25 into 300? Right? He plays with tens of millions, so it does seem a little weird. Maybe his tweet is completely unconnected with GameStop, and GameStop just went up to go up based on his tweet, but his tweet has nothing to do with GameStop. Or maybe it does have to do with GameStop. I don't think anyone knows. But I'm at the Palantir event yesterday. I look on my phone, I see Roaring Kitty's back, and I'm like, I don't even know what to think right now. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Like, I'm trying to focus on this event, and I see Roaring Kitty is like tweeting these magazine covers. He's so cryptic about this stuff. And so I have no idea what it is. Some people thought it had to do with Unity. I don't buy the story, to be honest. Some people think the U on that cover from YouTube has to do with Unity. Is Unity up right now? Unity's up 6%. It was up 5% yesterday, up 4% today, or 2% today. I don't know. Unity is not a stock that really has any momentum going behind it. Leadership did not do the best. Earnings were not the best. So I don't know if Unity's pumping because of this, but look, this is the green candle from yesterday. So it probably had to do something with the GameStop story, and it's actually holding. So I think maybe people are thinking that Unity is the candidate because it's holding. It's not dumping in the pre-market. If it is Unity, then Unity gets added to the list of stocks that Roaring Kitty likes to mess around with. The first one was GameStop. Then you had Chewy with the dog picture, and now maybe it's Unity. Maybe it is going to be Unity. So there we go. That's what we got in the context of Roaring Kitty, but it is very, very weird that actually happened yesterday. So where's GameStop right now? Where's GameStop? GME 29.29. GME was up 6% yesterday, up 3% today, 2.3% pre-markets. Of course, to end out the year, we had to have Roaring Kitty get back into all of this. We can't have this end of the year without Roaring Kitty, but Roaring Kitty does look like he's back, and hopefully we get more clarity soon on what stock he's in. S&P 500 right here, up 0.16%. Tesla up 2.1%. Tesla 377. Tesla looks like it wants 400 by the end of the year, folks. It really looks like it wants 400. Archer, shout out to Archer right here, up 7.5%. It was up 10% yesterday. It took a nasty 15% decline, or I think 20% decline last week. but continuing to get some of its momentum back. So for those that got into Archer at $3, we were talking about it on the channel. Congrats. I was on the phone with Derek this morning, and he was like, Archer was a hell of a call, right? I was like, yeah, Archer was a good call at $3. He kind of just, I don't know how many shares he bought, but he just bought a ton of shares at $3. And he said, screw it. And the reason Derek likes Archer also is because Brett Adcock, who's the founder of Figure, which Derek's invested in, got me invested in, he was the previous founder of Archer. And although a lot of people don't like that Brett left Archer because he had other things he wanted to do, he built that company to be a really special company and took it public, and there's a lot of potential in this company. It's just Brett's just not there anymore. So I do think that can do well. Again, they don't really have real earnings, but over time, as those earnings start to become real, you get the market to get a lot more excited. Nubank as well, up a little bit. They got upgraded yesterday after getting downgraded a week ago. SoFi up 1.21%. SoFi got hit yesterday, down 4%. I don't know why SoFi fell 4%. I really have no idea. But SoFi right here, 4%. Oh, I read the Grab downgrade by HSBC. So they raised the price target from 425 to 550. So they raised the price target. But the downgrade, guys, the downgrade is shares are moving too fast. That's the downgrade. So again, if all of the downgrades are like, hey, it's moving too quick, to me, that's just people saying that they want to keep the price down because, they want to let the fundamentals take place before it goes up. But it's not them saying we don't think the fundamentals are going to take place. Basically, they're not saying they won't grow and have the profitability and EBITDA margins, et cetera. They're just saying let it happen before you buy, which is fair. But it's not a downgrade. That's not a down. That's just like a warning to your clients. So to me, I think this is load up time for Grab. And I've been loading up as much as I can. I have 2,400 shares now. I want to get to 10,000 shares. And I think everything's headed in the right direction. And as long as they can keep up the earnings growth, I think it'll be good. But the downgrades that we're seeing are not real downgrades. They're just like warnings to be a little cautious because you might get better opportunities. And we might see this thing under $5. But that's what we got going on for Grab. Robinhood got upgraded today again. Robinhood right here, up 2% in the pre-markets. Robinhood is obviously, I talked a lot of in depth yesterday about Robinhood, but yesterday Robinhood got upgraded from Piper Sandler from 42 to 54. And then today, or I think last night, Goldman Sachs that upgraded them from 25 to 40, upgraded them again to 46. So you've just got a ton of momentum in Robinhood as well. Every single analyst at this point is saying, yeah, like this story is happening. It's real. It's not going away. And we think it's going to be a very, very big story over the next few years. This was Vlad and his team at the NASDAQ. This was really cool. This picture right here. This was awesome. So I didn't stay long enough in the event to see this stuff happen, but you have them ring the bell right here. So there's Vlad at the bell speaking. I know a lot of people in this team. I actually know Ruki right there. She set up the interview. You got Dan in the back who does all the audio and video stuff. Like, this is just so cool. Ruki right here next to Dan Gallagher. She set up the interview with me. So I was just like thanking her for that. It was so funny because you know when I tell the story about how I got the Vlad interview in February, I say Ruki, who's the woman right here next to Dan Gallagher. I say that she didn't respond to me for a week because I try to build hype in the story, and I'm like, yeah, I sent the email and she took a week to respond to me, but finally she said yes, and then I got so excited. And then apparently one of the Robinhood employees watched the stream and she heard the story and she told Ruki, she was like, Ruki, why are you slacking? Why you didn't respond to him for a week? And so she was giving me shit about it yesterday. She was like, I was trying to figure it out. That's why I was taking my time. It's not because we didn't want to do it. And I was like, yeah, but I'm happy you took a week because it makes the story more exciting. Because those 7 days, the level of anxiety I felt, I was like, oh, they're going to tell me we can't do the interview. They're going to say we won't do it. But they're like, no, we wanted to do it. We just have to figure it out. So that was really cool. So look at Vlad right there. He's so excited. Look at that. He's like, yeah, baby, we are freaking doing it. You got Steve Quirk right there excited as well. All these guys in the background. And this is so awesome, bro. It's so awesome. It's just so awesome to see a company execute and do what they're doing. And it's a big deal. It's a big deal. They're out there doing it. So incredible stuff for Robinhood. More upgrades. Look, I think Robinhood end of the year, I don't know what my price target is, but I think it's higher than 40. We saw that happen yesterday. Sold off. That happens. Bitcoin went down. All that stuff. I do think we are higher than 40 by the end of the year. And I think this is a growth story that's not slowing down. So that's what you got in the concept of Robinhood. And I'm not just saying that because of the stuff I saw on Investor Day. The November metrics are unbelievable. And to me, that's the real reason. When you look at those metrics and look at what the revenue that's going to create from those metrics and the earnings growth, it gets you really excited about what Robinhood ultimately can do. The purple shoes from Vlad. Yes, the purple shoes from Vlad also were very cool. All right, we got 8 minutes left until the market opens. 8 minutes left until the market opens. Let's see some of the other headlines we had from yesterday. Oh, this thing was crazy. So this right here. So David Sachs and Elon are really cool, right? Like they're really cool. David Sachs and Elon, like they go back, they're boys, right? Sam Altman said, congrats to David Sachs for becoming the crypto and AI czar. And Elon responded, with a laughing emoji. And there's so many layers to this because Elon hates Sam Altman. He doesn't like Sam Altman. And Sam Altman is running one of the biggest AI companies in the world in terms of, OpenAI. And now David Sachs has President Trump's ear on AI regulation. Who do you think David Sachs is going to help more? Sam Altman or his best friend, Elon Musk, who bought Twitter and saved free speech in the eyes of David Sachs, which he has, been very supportive of over the past 2 years. He's probably going to support Elon Musk over Sam Altman. And so it's kind of funny. Obviously, he can't literally pick and choose, right? But like the way this is playing out is Elon is getting every one of his buddies into the White House. And I think if you're invested in any of Elon Musk's empire, SpaceX, Neuralink, Tesla, XAI, the next 5 years are going to be wild because Elon has all the political support that he needs to get the job done. And Sam Altman has none of it. Sam Altman has no one in the White House that cares about him. Everyone thinks he's a snake. No one likes him. Elon is basically telling probably everyone in the White House, hey, like Sam Altman's he stole OpenAI from me. He said it was a nonprofit, turned it into a profit, which he's right. He turned a nonprofit into a profit. Like, how does that work, right? Like, how does that make sense? But it's happening. Microsoft right here up a little bit in the pre-markets. So I think it's really interesting to see how that dynamic's going to play out. Amazon up a little bit as well, up 0.4%. But you do have a lot of layers to how this White House is ultimately turning out to be. How did the jobs report look? We were up on jobs, 227,000 versus 220,000 expected. So jobs report was good, and market decided that also means that inflation, although it might go up, it means that we're definitely going to get a rate cut because the unemployment rate slightly went up. Well, let's get a quick update on that as well. Try to see what we have in jobs, and then we will keep going from there. Market open in about 5 minutes.
Numbers, please, for November jobs reports.
The November jobs report hitting the wires and pretty darn close to expectations. 227,000. And the revisions haven't come through yet. Oh, they are starting to come through now. If we look at 2 months worth of revisions, we're going to subtract. Actually, I take that back. We are going to add 56,000 for a 2-month ad. Now let's look at the unemployment rate. It ticks up from 4.1 to 4.2%. Now this is interesting because this equals where we were in June. Let's see where we were, 4.2. In August, we were at 4.2. We're at 4.3 in July. So even
guys, Robinhood just announced something. Bro, what the heck? These guys don't fucking stop. What is this? Robinhood just announced Gold Monday. Gold Monday is coming. Stay tuned for more Robinhood Gold news on Monday, 12/9. Well, these guys, bro, what are they doing? They do not stop. What is Gold Monday? From December 9th to December 16th. I have no idea what this is going to be, but it looks like they're coming out with some new stuff. Either they're enhancing the gold product, maybe the gold card. By the way, I got that gold credit card, so I can use it now, and it's awesome just using it. 3% cash back, transfer to your brokerage. I don't know what's happening, but it looks like we got some new stuff coming up as well.
It ticked up. We have been higher, and that 4.3 read that we had in July was the highest going all the way back to October of 21. So very important area we're starting to come up against with respect to the unemployment rate. Now, if we look at average hourly earnings month over month, realizing they were pretty strong last month, they remain strong, up 0.4 again. So that's back-to-back up 0.4. That is a solid read. And do remember, the highest read we had all year was in January, up 0.5%. Now, if we look at average hourly earnings on a year-over-year perspective, also remains very solid, up 4% again, back-to-back 4%. Now, if we look...
So again, we have jobs. People are earning more money at their jobs. They're spending that money in the economy, which is why we're seeing really good earnings growth. I mean, again, the recession case is just hard to see right now. And then you've got a Trump administration that really wants the economy to grow, and they're doing everything to make sure the economy keeps growing. It's just one of those things, bro. I think the Bears did not expect the year to end out like this. Back in August, September, when they had their little Japanese yen carry thing, and then, they thought we were losing a ton of jobs because we had a couple bad reports because of the hurricane. Like, the narrative that the Bears painted was like everything's going to shit. And it's like, that just didn't happen. And it's not because of, you could say the numbers are fake. You don't agree with the job numbers. Sure, that's fine. You cannot say earnings growth is fake. You just can't say that. You can't say Urban Outfitters is faking $1 billion of revenue. No, they like people bought $1 billion worth of clothes from Urban Outfitters. They're showing those results. And by the way, if you had crappy earnings like Target, you get smacked. You get smacked. If you have crappy earnings like Target, you get smacked. Why? Because you deserve to get smacked. 157 to 120. Why did that happen on Target? Because they didn't have the best earnings, which is not a frothy market. A frothy market would have barely taken Target down because so much money is in the system that they wouldn't want to leave a company, even if they have crappy earnings, because they don't know where else to put it. If you have crappy earnings, there's other options, and those companies and those allocators obviously take that money and put it into other places, which is a sign of a healthy market. And then you got big tech that's not slowing down. Meta, we talked about yesterday, $10 billion they want to invest in a new data center. Oh, Sham tweeted this pic yesterday from his account right here. And take a look at this chart. This chart was crazy. We have the market open in about 2 minutes. There are more data centers in the United States than all other countries combined. 5,381 data centers. The next best up is Germany with 521, and the UK with 514, and then China with 449, Canada with 336, France with 315, Australia with 307. So obviously, all the innovation around AI, tech, semiconductors, et cetera, is happening in the US, which means all the software implications of AI is going to happen in the US because the US has all the data centers to support it. So it's pretty damn incredible. It's pretty damn incredible. Oh, we got the market open in 20 seconds, but we got Mr. Derek Wall. Derek, we were just talking about you and Archer 10 minutes ago. Derek, thank you for the 50 gifted. Appreciate it. Derek's been really busy. I know a lot of you guys have been asking, where's Derek? Why is he not in the chat? Why is he not gifting me a membership? He's been really busy because he's building what I think is going to be one of the biggest startups ever. And he's getting some deals done. So shout out to you, Derek. Thank you. 50 of you guys just got memberships. Thank you for being part of the channel. Thank you guys for showing up every morning. Thank you guys for allowing me to live my dream and do what I want to do every single morning by opening this market. 9:30 a.m. Friday. The market is now open. Wake your ass up. The markets are open. We are back to a real cowbell, baby. Let's go to Palantir. Palantir, $72.35. All right, so we did not hit 73 as the market opened. That 73 was in the pre-market. So if we get back to 73, we will ring the bell again for 73. If that happens, I'll check resistance in a second. But 72.45 currently as we open. Where is Tesla? Tesla is 376. So we hold the 2% that we had in the pre-markets. It was at 378. Now it's at 376. I think 380 is very possible today. It's also a Friday. Tesla usually tends to sell off on a Friday. That's not happening as we open up in the markets. And you got Tesla right here at 376. Nvidia right here, 144. That is down 0.5%. Amazon, 220. Meta at 609. IWM, 239. The Qs are up. S&P 500 is up. Google is down 172. Google is down by 20 bips. Robinhood is up 1.67%, $39.57. Rocket Lab was up in the pre-markets at 24.85, then got hit 23.93. Rocket Lab right now currently down slightly from the pre-markets. ARC Innovation, ARC's up 20% this year. ARC right here, 61.19, up 1.34%. Archer, 790. Archer up another 3% after going up 17% yesterday. SoundHound, look, congrats to those who are in SoundHound. I really don't understand this company that well. I've not been in it, but if you've been in it since $3-4, it's at 14 right now. Congratulations. I heard they got an audio deal yesterday with a taco restaurant, and that's helping them up another 7% today after being up 15% yesterday. SoundHound right here, $14.35. Archer right here, 791. Marathon, 25.76. Bitcoin trying to make its way back to 100,000, 99,468 currently on Bitcoin. SoFi is at 1564. SoFi's red. I really don't know why SoFi's been selling off the past couple of days outside of one of their institutional investors selling 3 million shares, which is not a lot of shares, quite frankly, and SoFi's float. So not sure why it's getting hit on that. But SoFi basically flat over the past couple of days to down. Coinbase right here, 329. That's up 2%. CleanSpark up 2%. Salesforce up 1.17%. Salesforce also, it was confirmed yesterday, they are hiring 1,400 people for AI demand, which is going to be really important. Oh, Palantir 73. It is on the way, and we just hit it. Palantir, new all-time high, 73. Salesforce hiring 1,400 people for all their AI demand also means that there's a lot of AI demand for software, aka Palantir. And so I think another reason Palantir is going up right now is because Salesforce had a really strong earnings, not in the top line revenue growth, but in the actual demand they're seeing for the AI Agentforce vertical. And that's telling the market, well, wait a second, that means Palantir is probably going to get a lot more demand. There you go. Palantir at 73. Let me take a look at resistance for 74. But 73 resistance is not there anymore because we just broke through it twice, and hopefully we get back above it. 74 is 47,000 shares. So we got about 47,000 shares for Palantir on 73. For Tesla, I want to check real quick as well and see what's happening. Congress is auditing the Webull IPO. Is that bullish for Hood? So that is bullish for Hood, but more so than anything, remember, Webull is a Chinese company, and it makes sense that Congress is auditing the Webull IPO. I mean, they'll probably still be able to IPO, but in general, Robinhood versus Webull is just a different animal, dude. Robinhood has a lot of different things going for it versus Webull, and Webull's Chinese. I don't know how many people want to trust a Chinese company in the States. Okay, so 380 for Tesla has 117,000 shares. So it's not going to be easy, but oh my God, Palantir 73.40. Whoa. I wasn't looking at the screen. I was looking down at my phone. Okay, so 74 is 40,000 shares. 380 on Tesla has 117,000 shares. Let me confirm on Palantir, 74. Resistance is 47,759 shares. 47,759 shares. I'm not going to even try to sit and argue valuation because I'm not going to try to justify it. At this point, the valuation is detached. It is what it is. This is pure momentum. And that's what you have to understand about Palantir. I hope no one has a ton of FOMO here. And if you are FOMOing in, then you have to know that, hey, this might come back down. You have to be very cognizant of that. Or it might keep going up. At this point, the valuation is not controlling the stock. There are bigger players, in my opinion, that are controlling the stock. I do not think, it's up $5 billion in market cap today. Do we think retail did that? No. I don't think retail has $5 billion at the end of the year to just pump more into Palantir. I really don't. I think these are the big guys coming in. And we do have the QQQ rebalance news on December 13th. MicroStrategy right here at 391. So I think this could be front running that news. And if the market thinks Palantir is getting into the index or getting into the ETF, then maybe they're just buying it before. And it is what it is. It is what it is. That's what we're getting in the context of Palantir. A director of SoFi sold their shares. Really? Dude, are we about to hit 74? Can someone confirm that? Did a director of SoFi last night sell their shares? I didn't see that headline, but let me know if that's true. I feel like I would have seen that. I guess that's kind of bearish, but then again, it depends on also how many shares they sold and who it was. Because if it was the CTO, Jeremy Rischel, that dude's been selling for a long time. 73.91, 31 million. It has to be dollars worth of shares. So like 2 million shares. How did I not catch that headline yesterday? I gotta check that out. That's weird. Okay, 73.80. We did not hit 74 yet, but the momentum looks like it wants to get there. We got to 73.90. Victor, thank you for the $10 super chat. Appreciate that, Victor. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Rob, thank you for the $10 super chat as well. And what are your thoughts on Karp acknowledging and supporting Doge and Sean working at the Pentagon? I think it's great. I think Karp said exactly, Elon is the right person for the job. He's the best person for the job. Karp knows that we need an efficient government and that, Palantir will probably get more contracts if we have an efficient government. So I think Karp supporting it makes a lot of sense, and we'll watch that clip in a little bit. 73.92 right here on Palantir. We are trying to go for 74. We are trying to go for 74. Oh, if that was Silver Lake, then that's not a director. That's just one of the OG SoFi institutional investors. So that's not a director selling. That's not an insider. So yeah, if you're talking about Silver Lake selling those 3 million shares, then that's already priced in. I mean, that happened a couple days ago. Up 74, 74, folks. I'm sorry for your ears, but 74. Here we go. I don't know what's happening at this point. It's fucking, I don't get it. I'm sorry for cursing. I gotta stop cursing, but I don't know, dude. I was on the phone with Derek today. Derek has a ton of Palantir and he was like, what is going on? I was like, dude, I don't know. I was like, I can't explain it. I don't get it. I don't know. It's just, it's happening. It's happening. It's just happening, dude. Where it's like, let me check resistance at 75, because why not? Bank of America's at 75, right? All right, we're only 40 cents away. Here we go. We're 75. 75 is 215,000 shares. That's light work. 250,000. That's light work. Come on, bro. 250,000 shares. 215,000 shares. That's I think that could be done. That's Dude, and trust me, I was talking to the employees yesterday as well, right? They don't get it either. They just know that, like, hey, the market's recognizing they're valuable, but the market's obviously recognizing it at a very strong level. And again, if the market believes that Palantir is going to be that company, if Palantir can live up to that expectation, which is obviously not easy to do, but if they can do it, it's going to be amazing. Steve is so mad right now. Well, Steve said it was going to 150, so I think Steve's got to be kind of happy, right? Steve's got to be a little happy. Oh my gosh, bro. 74. I mean, it looks like it wants 75. It looks like that's what it wants today. It looks like that's what it wants. Chris CRM says so many international funds need Palantir. There is no other company like this in many other countries. Yeah, that's fair. It's just a question of, do those international funds think at, what's the market cap now? $170 billion that it's worth a buy. And I guess they're just not caring about the value. Maybe, you know, we hear the common idea that, you know, don't look at your spreadsheet, look at like the future and be creative and all that stuff. I get it. And look, as a tech investor, you have to have that. It's just when a stock's up almost 400% year to date and you have that level of framework up to thinking of it, it's kind of like are you really thinking of that, or are you just being greedy, right? And I think there's a little bit of both. But regardless, whatever is the reason, there is a reason. And for the OG shareholders, you kind of just sit back and enjoy the ride. I mean, that's it. You sit back and enjoy the ride. I don't think you fight it. I don't think you like that's the thing I had with Steve for the past couple of months, because Steve was like upset. I'm like, Steve, why are you upset? Just enjoy it. Like, I get your covered calls are underwater, but that's like eventually you'll pay back those covered calls and you'll get your shares back. But just enjoy the ride. It's a fun ride. Is it a crazy ride? Is it a ride that might not make any sense? Yeah, sure. But it's a fun ride. You got to sit back and let it happen. And just let it happen. The Q's pushed this to 80. I mean, at this point, dude, I thought the Q's news was priced in at 62. When we went from 54 to 62, I was like, oh, that's based on the NASDAQ. That's priced in. Now, I don't know if any of that's been priced in. Lulu had a good earnings. Lulu right here up 17%. Lululemon coming back from the dead. I think this stock was almost below 200 this year. And this right here, if you don't own Lululemon, what matters about this is that consumers have enough money to buy leggings that cost $575. I'm being hyperbolic, but still. And that means we have people making money, right? Like, if people have enough money to buy $7,000 leggings at Lululemon, that means there's more money. So Lululemon right here up 17%. And it looks like that right there is my barometer for signs that this economy does have some broader strength. Is Nike down? Is Nike down on this? Nike's up. No, all of retail's up. Nike's not down on Lululemon. Nike's actually up, even if Lululemon is also up. Also, DocuSign is up 30% in the past couple months. DocuSign, oh my God, it's up 20% this month. So it's actually up 60% since August then. So I was on the phone with Steve last night about this one. Steve, I don't know if you guys remember, Steve called DocuSign at 57. He called it. He wrote an article. He was on my show. He was like, DocuSign. And then last night I was like, Steve, so how much DocuSign do you have? It was like, I never bought it. I was like, interesting. You like making these calls, but you don't like listening to yourself. So he's upset that he did not buy DocuSign, but he called it at 50, 57, and it's at 100. I think they had a good earnings. I didn't look at their numbers, but I imagine more people are signing documents, which maybe is a sign of more M&A and like more deals getting done in business, as that's why people sign documents, contracts, all that stuff. And so there you go. DocuSign up 20%. Target right here up 1.4%. Palantir right here 74.45, and you got Tesla at 372. Tesla getting, a little bit of a red candle right there, not holding in that 375 range, but 373. Microsoft at 444. Unity is now down. People thought that was the roaring kitty stock. That's down. Meta at 612. IWM at 239. S&P at 608. And then Palantir right here at $74.33. Shopify's up. I don't know why Shopify's up, but Shopify's up 5%. They had a great Black Friday. It makes sense that they're up. So that makes a ton of sense to me. Again, their numbers were incredible. Compounding 25% year over year is not easy. SoFi, whoa, holy crap. What is happening? What is happening? What the hell is happening with SoFi, bro? What is happening? Archer has news. Okay, let me try to find Archer news as well. What is happening to SoFi? No. It's supposed to be going the other way. Did it like make a U-turn? Like, what's happening here? That's a big candle, right? Yeah, that's a big candle. That's like, that doesn't happen that easily. We haven't seen 4% down on SoFi in a minute. Archer has signed an agreement to launch commercial electric air taxi flights, signed in Abu Dhabi. Archer is launching electric air taxi flights in Abu Dhabi. That deal is official. That's why Archer is up. And we kind of knew they had this Abu Dhabi backlog, so it makes sense that this press release is happening. Archer right here up 2.4%. Likely why the stock also went up over the past couple of weeks. Palantir 74.70. Goodness gracious, Palantir doesn't care. Let me check 75 resistance. I think it's still 50,000 shares, right? 75. No, it's more than that. It's 240,000. 240,000 shares. 240,000 shares. That's going to be hard, but it's possible. And then SoFi down 4.6%. Where's Hood? Is Hood dumping on this as well? Is all fintech getting hit? Is Hood okay? Hood's up. Hood's holding. Hood is actually holding 39.38. Even if Bitcoin's not really going up, Hood is holding. Bitcoin's up a little bit right here, up 1%. Rocket Lab also is getting a little hit. Rocket Lab down 1.3%. And then SoFi down 4.35. Amit, do you know anything about Big Bear AI? I don't, but I don't think they're like the super biggest AI player. Remember, this was a stock that got squeezed last year or earlier this year. It's one of those, I want to say it's a meme stock, but it kind of was acting like a meme stock. I know it's up right now. Again, if you really don't understand anything about Big Bear AI, I wouldn't chase it. I've done some research into them. I don't know how legit of an AI company they are. I'm sure they're more legit than the average AI stock, but this is a name that has been controlled by people on Wall Street Bets and Stock Twits for a while. So they pumped a lot earlier this year. Don't know why they're up right now, but not sure about the name in and of itself. Probably going up also because just general AI is getting some momentum. Palantir, oh my God, we're 5 cents away. Holy crap, dude. If we break through 240,000 shares, oh my God, 75 Palantir. Guys, there were 240,000 shares at 75. Like that wasn't just easy to break through. That wasn't just like, oh, we're just break. That wasn't like a simple like that. like that was a lot of shares that just like went away in seconds. That like it was like 74.98 for like 2 seconds, and it just broke through. And it's not stopping. It's above 75. Holy crap, bro. Goodness gracious. Like, this is, I don't know what to say. I don't have any words. I really don't. Bitcoin trying to get back to 99 as well. 75.12 on Palantir. Oh my gosh, bro. Oh my gosh. This is amazing. This is absolutely incredible. Okay, so let's do a check in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat if you're nervous, a 2 in the chat if you're excited. You can only pick 1 or 2. 1 means you're more nervous. 2 means you're more excited. Let's see what people are thinking. 1 or 2. 1 or 2. 1 or 2. 1 or 2. Market cap for Palantir is now 171 billion. 1 or 2. 1 or 2. 1 or 2. I think my caption should be looks like Dan and Mariana were right. Looks like Dan Ives was right. Looks like Dan Ives was right. I'm seeing more 2s than 1s. I think more people are excited than not. 75 30. This is not stopping, bro. Usually when it breaks a new level, it comes back down for like 20 minutes and then goes back. Like it would go to 75.05 and then it would go back to 74.20 and then it'd make its way back. This is just like pure momentum to the upside. Pure momentum to the upside. Dan Ives is gonna have to be like, yeah, you know, we think Palantir at $95 is a good deal. Like Dan's life is getting pretty hard, folks. Dan's life is getting pretty hard. Oh my God. Robinhood right here, 39.35. SoFi recovering a little bit. So I don't know why it dropped 5%, but it's recovering a little bit now. It's down 3%. Tesla 375 as well. Tesla getting up there. And then Palantir 75.24. That is just incredible, bro. I mean, people don't want coal for Christmas. Yeah, that's facts. Dude, but I can't look. You guys saw the Karp interview yesterday, right? Karp was not talking up the stock. Karp was being pretty chill. Like on CNBC before the earnings. Remember, Karp had that big rant about how haters always complain about valuation, yada yada yada. Right? Like he went on a rant, and you could tell like he was really motivated. This one, he was really chill, laid back. He didn't talk about undervalued, overvalued. He just talked about their momentum. He wasn't trying to like make a big deal out of what's happening with the stock. He was just being really chill. Like nothing he said yesterday could convince me that people watch that interview and they're like, we got to buy Palantir. Now, the one in November, early November, yes, I think you could watch that and you would want to run through a brick wall and buy more Palantir, right? But yesterday was a pretty chill interview. It wasn't anything crazy. And so this momentum, I don't know where the hell it's coming from, but it's coming from somewhere. And it looks like it wants to go much higher than 75 based on the level of this buying pressure. Amir says 75. Dan and Mariana are right again. Yeah, we were just saying that. Dan and Mariana are right again. SoFi news and insiders completely leaving. Can someone send the link to this? Because a lot of you guys are saying there's SoFi insider stuff, but no one's actually backing it up with like facts. Like what insiders leaving, what insiders selling, like what is the actual, like if anyone actually has the news on it, please give it in the chat, because I can't find anything about a SoFi insider leaving or going. 75.50. Oh my goodness. 75.50. 75.50. Yeah, it looks like we're going for 76. Well, let me check the 76 resistance because I didn't check that out yet. Looks like a fund is leaving. Yeah, but if the fund was Silver Lake, they already left. That news already happened, unless there's another fund that's leaving. But the big SoFi fund that left, that was 3 days ago. Silver Lake, they sold their shares. They're gone. That news, I think, has already been reacted to, unless there's something else. 76 resistance is 19,000 shares. It's not a lot. 75.98 has another 25,000 shares. So let's call it 40,000 shares. That's it. I think this is the best explanation by John Chan. This is the best explanation. Warren Buffett is buying Palantir, folks. I think Buffett's buying Palantir. I actually don't think he's buying Palantir, but I feel like that's the only explanation at this point. Someone's buying Palantir. Someone's buying Palantir. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah, there is no resistance at 76. We got Derek in the chat. Derek, we were on the phone this morning talking about this. Derek was like, dude, what's happening with Palantir? I was like, I don't know, bro. I was like, I'm not, because I've been on the phone with Derek before and I've been trying to like justify the valuation. And, you know, Derek's been investing for 30 years. He's like, Amit, shut the fuck up. He's like, Amit, shut up. He's like, you can't justify this. Like, I was like, yeah, well, if you take the PE and you divide it by 17 and then you carry over the 1, and he's like, shut the hell up. You can't justify this. This morning, I was like, Derek, I'm not even going to argue this time. I can't justify it. I can't justify it this time, but it's happening. It is happening. $75 on Palantir. It's just incredible. Just incredible. Okay, some of you guys are saying an insider sold $400 million of SoFi, 31 million shares at an average of $16 on December 4th, 2024. Yeah, but okay, so is this Silver Lake or is this someone else? I think this actually might be someone else. Silver Lake sold 3 million shares, if I understand. 31 million shares, yeah, that's actually a big sell. That's actually a big sell. So if someone sold 31 million shares of SoFi, that could be the reason why SoFi's down. Oh, that was Silver Lake? Okay, so I'm wrong. That was Silver Lake. Okay, so then that was Silver Lake. So then, you know what? SoFi's just being SoFi. That's why it's down. There's no explanation for it. Also, SoFi's recovering, so I don't think it's that big of a deal. But that 5% drop, maybe someone sold insiders and we're going to find out later, or something happened, but not sure. Palantir right here, 75.17. But if that was Silver Lake, then yeah, that's not new news. That's old news. I mean, you've got 12 more hours till Palantir Weekly to figure this out. Oh boy, Palantir Weekly is going to be exciting today. We're going to try to get Amir to take out his DCF and figure out how do we... Guys, this stock price, just to give context, is implying, to my understanding, 49% growth for the next 10 years. Something like that. I mean, you could play with the numbers, but we're looking at minimum 40% growth for the next 10 years with 40% free cash flow margins and call it 2% dilution. I mean, at this point, can Palantir do that? I think they can. It's just the market's really pricing in that they're going to do that quicker than they expected. And if that's the case, then now it's just up to Palantir to show they can do it. Okay, so Palantir right here, 75.33. We'll go back to them in a second. Grab is flat on the day. GameStop is up a little bit. Unity's down. MicroStrategy 394. That's up. Nvidia 145. Amazon 223. Amazon new all-time highs. Meta at 615. S&P 500 608. Robinhood 39.29. Archer 796. Shopify up 4%. DocuSign up 21%. That's incredible. Lululemon up 16%. Tesla holding out in the 370s, but it's not kind of breaking that 380 range. Oracle's up today, 2.9%. Netflix back to 918. They were at 894. Carnival Cruise down a little bit. Royal Caribbean is up. Fortinet's up. Google's up. Intel's up. Square is up. Serve Robotics is up. SoundHound, that stock is 1379. That's up 3.2%. Where's the Qs? Are the Qs going up? Where's the Qs? Holy crap. The Qs are, someone's buying the Qs heavy, but the Mag 7, well, yeah, I mean, look at the Mag 7. Yeah, look at this. Google, Meta, Microsoft, Apple, all of them green. Apple, 244. Apple's a $3.7 trillion company. Like, Apple's hit a new all-time high every single day the past week. When the Mag 7's all green, the Qs are going to be green. And I maybe the Palantir buying is because they're getting into the Qs, and that's also helping the Qs go up right now because people know that they're about to rebalance. Any news on XRP? Well, yeah, here's some news. I sold out of my XRP, so I made a nice $90. And it was funny. I told Steve, I was like, Steve, I'm out. And he was like, congrats. I was like, the fact that you don't care that I sold my XRP, that means you never actually cared about XRP, bro. Like, I'm like, you didn't care. You had no reaction. You're like, oh, congrats. You're like, you definitely did not care that I sold. So XRP is at 231. It's down like 20% over the past couple of days, something like that, or 15%. Again, I had $150. It's not a big deal, but I sold it. I bought Grab. I was like, you know what? I'd rather have another 10 shares of Grab or 50 shares of Grab than XRP. And when XRP was going down, when Bitcoin was going up, that also to me was a sign of like, what's happening here? Like, this is not being a tide lifted with all boats, or a boat lifted with the tide, right? All boats lifted with one tide. This is kind of just like random nonsense pumping on XRP. Maybe XRP still goes higher. I don't know, but if it does, I'm not part of it. But it did fall as Bitcoin hit 100 and 104,000. How much was the spread? I don't know, bro. I don't know. I just sold. It was $150. I was up $90. I didn't really care. I was just like, I'm taking that money and I'm putting it into Grab. I'm putting it into something I can actually believe in over something that's just randomly up. Rumble's up 21%. Okay, why is Rumble up 21%? What is this? What's happening here? Rumble, I know they're putting Bitcoin on the balance sheet, but there's no Bitcoin like run today. So I don't know what the Rumble news is for why Rumble's up right now. Yeah, no one has the news on Rumble either. Oh, David Sachs, maybe that's bullish because David Sachs funded Rumble originally. That could be the reason. David Sachs was one of the seed investors in Rumble. Maybe that's the reason. Now he's part of the White House. And that's helping. Palantir right here, 75.40, not stopping. Oh, this was the headline today. Booz Allen and Palantir partner to advance and accelerate U.S. national defense. So that was a big headline this morning. I don't know if Palantir's up on that. You know, to be honest, that could be. Because why did Palantir go up on the FedRAMP news 2 days ago when it hit 70? It was because of government growth expectations, in my opinion. Why is Palantir up today? Well, they had a major government consulting firm, Booz Allen Hamilton, partnering with Palantir to accelerate and advance U.S. national defense. Maybe the street's like, holy crap, this government business is not going to stop growing. That could be a reason. I mean, that's a better reason than just like people buying it for the QQQ. Like a reason could be that they think David Sachs, by the way, is best friends with Peter Thiel. They both went to Stanford together. Like these guys are really close. Now you got David Sachs and JD Vance talking to Trump about crypto and AI. Palantir is an AI company. Peter Thiel, co-founder of Palantir. I mean, like, I can't think of a better setup for Palantir over the next 4 years. I really can't when it comes to the government business. I don't know how much better it could get for them other than this. And now they just have to execute. But if they do, you know, it can go very well. All right, Palantir falling a little bit below 75 right here. So you get some sell side pressure at 74.98 currently right now. Tesla right here at 373. Rumble again, 840. Robin at 39.29, up about 1%. SoFi still down. But SoFi's recovering. It was down 5%. Now it's down 1%. So that dip got eaten up pretty quickly. And then Shopify right here up about 5%. Oh, yeah. Sachs also is invested in Palantir. I forgot. Sachs on the Olin podcast, he said he has a position in Palantir. The other guys don't. But Sachs does. So, you know, you also have incentives here. If Sachs is invested in the company and obviously he wants better, more efficient government deals in AI, there's just a lot of connections here. There's a lot of connections. I did not do my DD on TMDX. I did not. I've been a little busy this week. Look, it's just not that high priority for me. I don't know, dude. It's a $2 billion company. I'm not that excited about it. It's an interesting company. I will do some DD eventually and I'll publish some stuff, but obviously this week has just been crazy. But Look, I don't know, dude. I don't know if this is the company that people want to get super excited about going into 2025. It's a small cap. It's down like 50% this year. I know that's a good setup, but ultimately there has to be some resounding moat that is going to allow more growth. And I got to do some research and see if that's there. But this one is down. It's up a little bit today. It got hit nasty. 177 to 68 is a big fall. Again, I don't think they deserve to fall 10% the other day because they're lowering the growth expectations, even though they're still growing like 80%. But yeah, the market definitely was not a fan of that. SMCI is up 5%. Whoa, SMCI is getting up. Yeah, look at that. SMCI up 5%. This one as well. If you caught it at 17, congrats. 43 now on SMCI. The market does not care about ethics, I guess, because the market doesn't give a shit. Where's CleanSpark? CleanSpark's up 5%. All right, so the miners, Bitcoin hit 100,000 and CleanSpark, what was it at yesterday? It was at like 15. Like, I think a lot of the people that are super big on the mine, it hit $16 yesterday. Again, maybe I got lucky and I was early to this, but the miners have been one of the worst trades this year, in my opinion, unless you got in at like $2-3. But if you got in when everybody got in, Bitcoin was over 100,000 and the miners, like, yeah, it moved a little bit yesterday. The only miner that really is moving is Marathon because they're doing this whole Bitcoin treasury thing. I could not sleep well at night if I'm in the miners, because if Bitcoin goes to 104,000 and the miners are barely moving, like, what is it going to take for the miners to move at this point? Right? Like, I don't get it. I really don't get it. IREN is more than just Bitcoin mining. They have energy associated with them. So that's also why they've done very well this year. They're not just like a pure Bitcoin miner. They have energy deals for AI data centers. Outside of that, I don't know, dude. The crypto miners are scary because like they're so contingent on Bitcoin and you just don't know what's happening with Bitcoin. And even when Bitcoin goes up, do they have to go up? And MicroStrategy, the reason MicroStrategy went down yesterday, again, is just because I think people didn't want to pay the premium. But again, if you look at the chart right here, MicroStrategy, look at the 1 month, it was at 2. If we go further down, it was at 230 on November 4th. It was at 205 on October 23rd. It's at 395. 205, basically call it 200 to 400, is a big double. It went to 550 at one point. And that kind of priced in Bitcoin going to 100,000. So the run happened. If you bought in after that, then you just bought in a little bit high. But the Bitcoin run to 100,000 happened. It just happened before Bitcoin got to 100,000. But for the miners, I don't really think the run necessarily happened. At least not yet. Ethereum as well. Yes, Ethereum has been running as well. Ethereum been doing good. Ethereum right here. Wow, 3,900. Ethereum trying to make his way back to 4,000 for the first time in a couple years. And Palantir, 74.99, just below $75. All right, let's bring on a guest onto the show. We will have TJ joining in 30 minutes. So we'll have TJ doing our option segment in 30 minutes. But let's bring on someone else who hasn't been on the show in a couple weeks, because we got to get some of his thoughts on what's going on in the world of semiconductors. Jose, what's up?
Hello. Has it been that long already? I feel like I just saw you.
It's been 2 weeks, man, since NVIDIA earnings. We saw NVIDIA go all the way up and then all the way down, all the way to 130. And now we're back at 145. So question for you, let's get started with this. Why do you think NVIDIA got hit so badly after earnings? And why do you think it just came right back up?
I mean, I don't know. I'm guessing the market, it's just crazy, right? The market likes to, I don't know. To be honest, we talked about it during the earnings, right? Earnings weren't anything bad. I mean, I was bullish at the end of the day, long-term super bullish for NVIDIA. I mean, at the end of the day, this company has become such a critical portion to this AI, to the semiconductor market, that any form of bearish news can impact the stock any direction. And I think almost on a daily basis, we hear rumors of some good news or some bad news. And I think that's just going to continue to create more volatility for NVIDIA.
It's really interesting because the only thing that they messed up on, I think, or they didn't even mess up on this, but this was just one of those things, which is that their guidance was 37 billion versus 40 billion. And that's what the street was upset about. But we know they're sandbagging. They're probably going to get to 40 billion. So the fact that it went down all the way to 130 and now it's back to 145, I agree with you. It's hard to explain it. Just the market's being the market, because NVIDIA probably never deserved to go down back to 130.
Yeah, and I mean, in the past few days, we've actually had some good news. I mean, we saw Meta Platforms just announced a huge AI data center in Louisiana, $10 billion that they're going to invest in this Louisiana data center plant. And usually napkin math assumes that 50% of usually the investment goes to some form of AI accelerator or kind of like that kind of AI chip market. So that's assuming a huge opportunity for NVIDIA there. The other thing is these data centers are not going to be built to 2030, right? They mentioned that Louisiana AI data center is going to be in construction till 2030. And this just kind of reiterates that, hey, look, these people are building these data centers for the next few years. So it's not like NVIDIA in 2030 is going to be selling Blackwell or Hopper. It's going to be selling some other generation, not even Rubin. It's going to be past the Rubin platform. So it just continues to give maybe some evidence that even past Rubin, even in multiple years, these big tech are still planning for huge AI investments.
So, what was your reaction to that news around? By the way, Meta right here going up 1.72%. What was your reaction to that news about the TSM new chip being earlier in production? Right, like that's what you're saying is also very bullish for NVIDIA as well, right?
Yeah, we've had rumors that first the Rubin is supposedly expected to. There are reports that it might come out 6 months earlier than anticipated, and this just continues to show that the only real competition to NVIDIA is NVIDIA itself. It's the only one eating its own market. So I don't know how I feel about it. I've had a few thought process on this. It's a little bit bullish and bearish on both ends, but at the end of the day, it just shows the vast innovation speed that NVIDIA has, and it's even though it's ahead of everybody else, it's not letting go of the gas pedal, which is something that Intel did like 20 years ago. And that's why we have Intel where it's at right now, where it thought it had a nice lead. It let go of the gas pedal. NVIDIA's like, that's not going to happen to us.
Quick reaction to Pat Gelsinger out of Intel. What do you think? Bullish or bearish?
I actually hated it. I mean, while I'm not an Intel shareholder, I think the market and board of directors are a little bit too impatient for when he became CEO. I mean, Lisa Su, for example, is talked about as the holy grail for AMD, and I agree. Lisa Su is one of the best CEOs, but Lisa Su became CEO in 2014. I'm pretty sure no one talked about AMD in 2014, 2015, 2016. We started to hear about AMD really kind of like in the late teens. So it takes time to really transform a company. I think, unfortunately, right now, investors did lose out a lot by letting go of Pat. I think Pat was the right man for the job. So for me, bearish thoughts on Intel in the short term, and new leadership at such a critical time also opens up a lot of questions. Are they going to follow the same suit, or are they going to kind of expand this timeline that they originally had?
Yeah, I agree. And also, I didn't notice Intel was at $20.99. Folks, Intel was at like 26 last week.
Yeah, in the past 5 days, I think the stock is down 15-16%.
Yeah, so I mean, the CEO leaving has not necessarily been bullish for the stock, at least not yet. Jose, SMCI, do you think the ethics issues are over at this point?
I mean, at the end of the day, the market hates uncertainties, right? And when the stock was down at 18, 17s, there was just so much level of uncertainty. If you wait out on missing out on some gains, but you start to find out some of the results of those uncertainties. I think right now there's still a lot of uncertainties, like why did Ernst EY leave? Some other issues as well, but it seems like with that special committee, we have some answers, and the stock is running as we continue to see strong demand for AI. Personally, like I mentioned it, I'm not sad that I missed out on this gain. Supermicro is usually not a company that I would normally invest in either, even if the stock was down.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And look, if you got it when it was uncertain, you got certainty, and therefore the stock is normalized from 17 to 40, but you have to take that risk. I want to get your thoughts on this, Jose. You tweeted about this yesterday. I didn't get to talk about it yet on the show, but I think this is the perfect time to talk about it. OpenAI is releasing a $200 per month GPT Pro model. So there's a couple layers to this, and I'm going to give you a couple questions and then take it wherever you want to go. Number one, do you think Sam Altman's doing this to avoid having to go down the advertising route and just charging people more money? Number two, if the LLMs are a commodity, is $200 a month justified if I can go to Claude? Number three, does that mean NVIDIA is just going to get more and more money because OpenAI is going to have to buy better chips to justify a $200 a month model?
I think let's start off with number three. I think it does showcase that at the end of the day, this market is still computational limited, computational power constraint. So, I mean, the way they're going to be able to handle that is by increasing the tier to have unlimited use cases. So I think at the end of the day, it is bullish for NVIDIA and for ASIC players. We've seen Marvell gone up a nice amount in the past few days with a huge partnership with Amazon. But the great thing is NVIDIA every generation becomes more efficient than the previous one. So it gives a reason to go and buy the next chip because it's going to be cheaper, like you mentioned, for OpenAI to use the next generation of chips. Now, I'm personally already upgraded to the $200 a month issues. I'm testing it out. I want to do a lot more coding, and it is going to be helping me a lot on the coding aspect. And I was kind of getting limited restraints on the $20 a month. For most people, I think the $20 a month is more than enough, as it includes everything. For the $200 a month, I'm trying to build some stuff, and I think it's way cheaper to do that than to have an assistant software developer than to pay a software developer itself. So I personally enjoy it, and there's definitely a market, but it's usually for those heavy technical engineers, scientists that are using it. So for most people, it's not going to be a thing.
Well, I agree. Look, if you're using it for coding or something like that, right? Like, an engineer is like what, a couple $100,000 a year. If you can pay $200 a month, which is what, $2,400 a year. I mean, that's a hell of a deal. That's not bad. That's actually relatively cheap. But do you think they want to make it a mass market product to avoid all the advertising routes they would have to go down, or how do they monetize it?
I think there's.
Because we already know they're not making money, and the
Yeah.
Financial Times reported that they're looking into advertising to like try to make some money. But if people like you pay $200 a month, they don't need to do ads. That's a great ROI.
I think that could be a reason. I think they're also just opening up the door that they're going to be charging a lot more money. I think in the future, we're going to see maybe even like $1,000 monthly subscription, but those are going to be like for the heavy scientists, those that are creating kind of like new medicines and stuff like that. So I think it's just opening up the possibility that this can get more expensive. And like you mentioned, right, it's a great way to kind of not bleed as much money as they were previously doing.
Yeah, I would agree. Ethereum, by the way, guys, at 4,000 currently right now on Ethereum. All right, Jose, I got one more question for you. Before I ask that question, I want to put your Twitter in the chat. Everyone, please make sure to follow Jose on Twitter.
Thank you.
If you want updates on semis, and I'll put his YouTube in the chat as well, that you guys can check out. Here's a question that I think a lot of people are curious about. I don't have a good answer for it because I don't know enough about it. But I think you have a much better answer for it. Is AMD a buy right now?
I enjoy AMD a lot. I really do. It's my number 2 position. And I think right now the market, it's, I don't know if I mentioned it in this streams or in one of my videos, but NVIDIA is that kid. If you have 2 kids, if you have NVIDIA and AMD, NVIDIA is that kid that you expect A+ from all day long. And that's what NVIDIA is doing. So when it comes with an A+, you say, okay, good job. This is what we expected from you. AMD at the moment is that kid you expect C+, maybe B- from. And there's going to be, I believe, one of these next few quarters that is going to give us an A++ report. And when it gives us that A++ report, because we only expected kind of like a B- or a B from it, it's going to give us some great returns. So I'm very bullish in AMD in the long term. I don't believe it's going to be NVIDIA. I don't believe it's ever going to stand up to NVIDIA, but I believe there's the opportunity for investors in the long term of things.
Okay, so you got Sachin in the chat who spent about 140 grand buying some NVIDIA or AMD today, 1,000 shares. Jose, if you had to pitch AMD in a really quick way, I know you say it's not NVIDIA, but like, what is the value prop to buying it if they're not growing as much as NVIDIA? Why should people even waste their time?
First, expectations are low. AMD is creating chips, and their AI chips. The market right now is supply constraint. So with the supply constraint market, even if you're not number 1, people are still going to want your number 2 chips because they want to innovate in this AI space. And AMD went from a $0 to a $5 billion GPU product in less than a year. So while the growth rate is not there like in NVIDIA, even taking 5, 7, 8% in this market will be a multi-billion opportunity for the company.
Yeah, and also Emily Chang on Bloomberg did an interview with Lisa Su yesterday. I don't know if you saw that, but I was listening to a little bit of that last night. Lisa's pretty bullish about the future around AI, as she should be. Mm-hmm. And, if AMD can even execute against some of those expectations, that can also be very important. Last question for you, Jose, is this Amazon getting into the chip. Bloomberg came out with this article. They're going to take NVIDIA's lunch. Is this like real, or is this just like headlines that don't really matter?
I mean, like I mentioned, right, the AI chip market is so big. There's going to be 2 markets. There's going to be your typical accelerators via GPUs from mainly NVIDIA and a super, super small share of AMD. But then these big tech players are developing ASIC solutions. And I think the ASIC market is going to be real. It's still going to be an NVIDIA market. But Amazon, they're working really well with Marvell. We've talked about Marvell plenty of times. The stock is up a nice amount after reporting this great partnership with Amazon. And Amazon just announced that they had 2 AI chips before. They had the Inferentia and the Trainium. Now they're actually only canceling the Inferentia because they're finding a way to kind of make the Trainium and inference in one chip. They kind of like discovered a baby GPU. So I think this is right because a GPU is able to do a lot of tasks at once. Now, I wouldn't be worried for NVIDIA at all because Amazon is not going to sell this chip to anybody else. NVIDIA is going to continue to develop at such a rapid pace. So
wait, why wouldn't they sell it to someone else?
Because at the end of the day, the only ones that are going to purchase these chips are going to be Google or Microsoft, and they want to have one up over those guys, right? They want to take all the market share. And if they're saying, hey, look, if you come to AWS, we have better price performance than Amazon or Google, than Microsoft or Google, you're going to get more market share from them. And that for them will be more beneficial than actually entering the hardware space. So I think it's bullish. I think Amazon is doing really well with the chip market. I think the ASIC market is pretty great. But at the end of the day, you're going to need general purpose computing and general AI accelerators that NVIDIA makes.
Do you think Amazon's the best Mac 7 based on what they're doing with AI?
Oh, man, maybe in forms of AI, they were ones that turned things around. I used to think Amazon was lagging in this space, but they just created their own foundational model a few weeks ago. They just announced these AI chips. So this is, in my opinion, a great turnaround. I think right now Amazon is kind of the best doing it itself. I think Google might be the cheapest at the moment.
Love it. Thank you, Jose. Appreciate it. You give us a lot of clarity when it comes to this AI semiconductor stuff. Jose's Twitter right there in the chat. You guys can follow him there. And yeah, we'll have you on next week and we'll kind of see what's going on with the semiconductor space. But I imagine you're not buying any semi stocks right now, maybe outside of AMD.
AMD, and then I'm entering into kind of like the equipment space. I think the equipment space, Lam Research is one that I'm buying, and then the automotive space, because I think the automotive is in that bearish market right now, and I like to buy things when they're in the bearish market. So ON Semiconductor is one that I'm buying as well.
I love it. All right, Jose, thank you so much. We'll see you next week.
Take care.
Bye-bye. All right, there you go. Those are some updates from Jose in the semiconductor space. So he is buying AMD, ON, and Lam Research. And he talked about all three of those on the show, I think, a couple of weeks ago. So AMD, Lam Research, and ON Semiconductor is what Jose is currently buying. All the semis are green except for NVIDIA, which is slightly down, Qualcomm slightly down, and then TSM down 1%. Everything else is up. But TSM's a $1 trillion company now. TSM is holding above 200. AMD right here at 142. That one is down. Look, the thing about AMD for me is, again, I just don't understand their business as well. I do think the AI revenues will continue to accelerate, even if they're not growing as much as NVIDIA. Is it necessarily cheap here? Probably not. But is it sold off aggressively? Yeah, which means the risk reward against the expectations is probably better than NVIDIA because NVIDIA's expectations are very high. But nonetheless, that could be an argument, and I could understand why people are buying AMD. Ethereum is over $4,000. That is a big deal. It's been a while since we had Ethereum at 4,000. It topped out at 4,800 in 2021, and we are here back at 4,000 on ETH. Interestingly enough, ETH picking up the slack as Bitcoin falls below 100,000, and I guess money rotating a little bit into some of these other plays that want to get some momentum. Bitcoin right here, 98,927 currently right now. Yeah, Amazon all-time high is incredible too. I mean, look, it's so funny because the stocks I want to DCA into next year are Amazon and Tesla, and I'm going to be paying such a premium, but there's not much I can do about it for both of those names. But both those names are winners. I mean, the amount of stuff Amazon's doing in the AI space, along with the new chips they're creating, along with the operating margins going up, and then obviously Tesla is Tesla. I mean, both of these names, I think, could be big winners in 2025 if earnings growth and earnings expectations against the broader macro stays intact. And I think that's the thing a lot of these analysts have been struggling with for the past couple of days as well. You got some analysts saying 7,500. You got other analysts saying 6,200. You have other analysts saying maybe 6,700. Like, everyone's kind of confused because people think the macro is good, but the question is, can the macro hold up? And can the earnings expectations grow at the level that the macro needs them to grow at in order to get there? And I think we're going to have to see if that happens. Speaking of analysts, let's listen to Gabriela Santos, one of my favorite analysts from JP Morgan. Let's get her 2025 outlook. We'll have TJ join in about 15 minutes for our option segment. And let's see what Gabriella has to say. Here we go.
Question, right? It's, gosh, I keep watching the stock market go up. Should I just keep getting more long because this is going to last for a while? How do you answer that?
Well, we really tend to see historically that actually strength begets more strength, right? You tend to have more all-time highs following all-time highs, especially once you've had a bear market, of course, related to the pandemic and rates there briefly. And now we're at the start of a new bull market. And for next year, we still expect a pretty decent, pretty normal economy with a recovery in earnings across various sectors that had a bit of a tough go there the last 2 years. So that's still an environment that's supportive of equities. But if you think about, should you be adding, I think you really should ask, add what exactly? And the odds are that there's probably a heavy amount of exposure to a handful of stocks. We all know and love them within the growth style, within the AI tech theme. And really what we've been seeing since July is much more opportunity in other sectors and in market cap, like mid caps.
So you have even more conviction today in the broadening story than you did prior to the election. Is that fair to say?
That is fair to say. And I think one reason is just the earnings delivery that we've had from other sectors. We're now seeing 3 quarters where we've had alternating between 8 or 9 sectors seeing positive earnings growth after an earnings recession last year. You are seeing signs that margins do seem to be stabilizing for sectors outside the Mag 7. So more conviction in that earnings delivery continuing next year. But then post-election, I think a lot of the expected impact in terms of a slight boost to nominal growth or deregulation, those tend to be much more beneficial to your value sectors and to a lower cap, and a good sweet spot for us is the mid cap sector.
One of the points you make is that, you know, and it is directly related, I think, to the election, is it's a fiscal policy story now more so than a monetary policy one, right? We've adjusted our expectations on what the Fed is going to do and when it's going to do it. And now we think, because of the result of the election, that you're going to get more fiscal policy, which is going to be towards that growth story.
And I think that's exactly right. I think for now, this month, next month, we're still, going to continue playing the Fed parlor game. Exactly how many cuts do we have left? But they're telling us pretty openly that they're closer to the end of the rate cutting cycle, which is fine. It's
closer to the end of the rate. I mean, even if they pause, I don't know that they're necessarily close to the end. They just started.
But I think that there's a broad understanding within the Fed and in the market that the neutral rate is substantially higher than it was. If you look at the range in the dots, which we'll get new ones in mid-December, it ranges between a 2.5% and a 3.8% neutral rate. And that's because of the resilience of the economy, the improvement in productivity. So we might be getting close to that plausible estimate of neutral 3 rate cuts from now. And then maybe it's a pause, maybe it's just the end. But as long as it's because it's resilient, that's fine. Where I think we'll get a lot more volatility in action is related to the tax bill next year. How much, in addition to the expected $4 trillion in extended tax cuts, do we get? And that's something that could keep the 10-year between a 4 or 5% range.
So that matters, right? That really, really matters. If we get those tax cuts and they increase earnings growth and they keep the 10-year in 4.4 to 4.2, and you have inflation come down, that's a setup for a really strong year. And that's why you have a lot of these institutional analysts saying, how can we be bearish? Like, where is the broader bearish argument that we're having to see? Palantir right here, Robin at 39.83. Palantir still pushing above 75. Palantir does not want to go below 75. It is up at $75, 75.44 currently right now. Robin at 39.83, up 2.2%. So Robin getting a little bit of a breakout, and then Palantir up 5% on the day, 75.43, going right back to 75.59, where it was at during the day, up 5%. It went down a little bit below 75, and now it's just right back. Robin into the S&P 500 today. Okay, so yeah, I will be live on the market close. It'll be an extra long episode because at 5:15, we're going to figure out who gets into the S&P 500. I really think Robinhood has a good shot. And if it does, I think that's going to be very bullish for them. Will they get in? I don't know. If they don't get in, they're definitely getting in next year. But I think they did their investor day to kind of signal to the market that, hey, we're a legit company. And we should be in the top 500 companies in the world. But I don't know. Workday, Trade Desk, and S&P 5 and Robinhood are the ones that could get in. Square potentially could get in as well. They're going to pick 3 of them. And I think Robinhood should be on their list. If it's not on the list, I don't think it matters. But I mean, I don't think there's a lot of other companies that deserve it more than Robinhood. I mean, all of us objectively, the execution this year has been just amazing. So when you have that level of incredible execution, it deserves to be rewarded. So we're going to see after the bell, 5:15 today, to see if that happens. Meta right here up 2.25%. Meta's at all-time highs at 623. Meta's at 623. Amazing. Oh yeah, Coinbase also could get in today as well. Coinbase could get in as well. That could be a big one. Dragos, thank you for the $20 super chat. He says, Amit, I'm leaving my wife for you. Well, you basically already left her, considering you're spending more time with me on these streams than your wife. So, it is what it is. It's, again, the wifey's not making you money. The wifey's spending your money. On this stream, we're making money. So you got to be part of these streams so you could give her more money so that she could go to Williams Simona and buy up everything she wants to buy up. Alex Chinchilla, I see you in the chat, my brother. This guy, again, stopped me on the street in New York a couple days ago. Super, super cool. Thank you for being here, bro. Happy you are listening and happy you are here, part of the show. Where's Grinder? By the way, Palantir 75.57. Grinder 15.37, baby. Oh, by the way, I rolled those 5 cover calls I have on Grinder to 19 from 15. So long 1,500 shares. 1,500 shares. And if it doesn't go below 14, then hopefully we remain green on these shares. Palantir 75.64. Okay, let's check the freaking resistance for 76, because why not? Why not? Literally, why not? 76 has 32,000 shares. That's not a ton. It's not a ton. 32,000 shares is not crazy. Maybe we do it. Rango says, bro, I wake up so early to watch your show. It's great. I appreciate you, Rango. I appreciate you being here, man. Rango, we got to get you on the channel again soon. We got to get your thoughts on Latin America and AI and your private investments. So we got to get you on soon. But yeah, dude, this has been a cool week. And it's been really cool to meet a bunch of you guys that watch the show. And it's always so cool to meet someone who watches you in person. And it's just cool to see someone who actually interacts every day as part of the show. So I'm really bullish on the meetups in 2025. I really want to do those once every month. We got to do LA. We got to do New York. We got to do Dallas. We got to do Boston. We got to do Toronto and Canada. So we'll figure it out, but it'll be fun. It'll be fun this year or next year. Amit, if Hood gets in today, does it make it faster for SoFi once it hits the metrics since Hood is out of the way? No, it's not really about Hood stopping SoFi. SoFi just needs to get qualified. If SoFi held an $18 billion market cap for the past 6 months, SoFi could have been eligible today as well. So it has nothing to do with Hood. It's just they just have to get the metrics. And so I think SoFi's got to be $20 for a good 6-7 months. And then by the end of 2025, I think there's a good shot they could get in, or early 2026. But again, Robinhood got to that level early this year, and then they held it and they kept growing. So that's why Robinhood is eligible. But I think SoFi will get there either next year or early 2026. Honest is up 1%. Salesforce is up 0.5%. Coinbase up 2%. BidX down a little bit. Marvell, their partnership with Amazon, that's up 0.5%. That was up 10% last week. Palantir right here, 75.67. Again, Palantir is not stopping right now. Palantir is not stopping. Palantir to 150 because it'll bother Steve. Let's give our boy Steve a little bit of a call. Let's see if he picks up. He's got to be happy. He said 150. He's got to be happy. Don't forget Miami. Yes, we'll do Miami as well. We'll do Miami. Hey, Steve, you're on the market open with me and 3,000 people. And because you said Palantir to 150, I just want to know if you're happy today.
You gotta have to come if you want to do something.
Steve, you there?
One second.
Okay. Yo, Steve's probably getting out of a meeting just to take this call. Steve loves you guys. Steve loves calling you guys. All right. I was saying you're live with me and 3,000 people, and we're looking at Palantir up 5% of the day at 75.55. And because you said Palantir is going to 150, all of us want to know, how happy are you today that your prediction is starting to become real?
No, it's not going to 150. It's going to 225.
So you raised the price target in a day.
Yeah, 150 is child's play. Let's go 225. Why not? If people are willing to buy at 75, I mean, they're going to be willing to buy it.
Steve,
85,
Steve,
right?
you sound a little upset.
I'm not upset.
I don't like that you're upset because you predicted 150.
I'm not upset. People are making money. I'm happy for everybody. I'm just saying.
I think there's a little inflection in your voice.
Are willing to pay 75. They're willing to pay 85. And then if people are willing to pay 85, they're willing to pay 95. And this is going to keep going. That's all.
So you should be happy then because you were right.
Numbers don't matter.
Well, you said 150. You were right. It looks like it's happening. So I
Well,
just
you
feel
know-
like there should be a little bit more excitement in your tone. That's all. I feel like, I mean, Steve,
I am just worried that valuations don't matter until they do, and it's just going to make the downturn that much more drastic if something happens with the numbers. That's all.
bro, but like, even if the downturns back to 50, does that really matter? Like, you know what I mean?
No, but I mean, it's a more realistic valuation.
Well, I mean, if 50 wasn't realistic, so 75, you know what I'm saying? Like 50, like, I don't think
I'm
anything's
saying it's more realistic than 75.
Well, yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
That's fair. That's fair. I don't know if we're going back to 50, bro. I don't know if we're going to go back to 30. I don't know if we're going back to 60. At this point, the market is speaking and they really want
I don't know if we're going back to 70.
Oh, you have a point. That would be like a what, 15% decline? Steve, we're at
I mean,
75.
why would we go back to 70? It dipped below and the freaking market ate it up. Sham sells 5 million shares. Market eats it up. Carp sells, Teal sells. Everybody sells and gets eaten up. So why should it go down? Stocks don't go down.
Steve, we're at 75.91. I think we might hit 76 on the call with you.
Stocks don't go down. You see what I mean?
Dude, this is actually, I don't like, okay, so like, I mean, I know you haven't been able to explain why, but like, why do you think this is happening?
I mean, there's so many reasons and none of them make sense to me because this doesn't make sense. The only thing that I really do think at this point that can be proven, I shouldn't even say it like that because I don't think you can't prove anything I'm about to say. My speculation is nobody is looking at the freaking financial statements. Nobody is looking at the forward outlooks. And everybody is just looking at the momentum and they're trying to scalp and they're probably setting stop losses. And since it's not going down, the stop losses aren't getting triggered. That's the only thing that makes sense. Because anybody who reads through these financial statements and reads through the forward guidance, this is not a good buy here.
Oh,
So
it's a tough buy at 75. I agree.
This is a momentum play, and people are riding the momentum, trying to make money. And it's working until it doesn't.
Yeah, and if it doesn't, and the fall is nasty, I just don't know if the fall is as nasty to the point where it's like a bubble popping versus like a 20-30% drawdown, which is not as bad.
The further it goes up, the worse the drawdown is going to be if we get a drawdown. I'm not saying that we will, but you have to think anybody buying here, the only thing that makes sense is they're buying because of the momentum. They see that it's booming. They see it's in an uptrend. You have everybody who thinks they know something about technical analysis, seeing it breaking out. They want to get in, try and make a couple of points on the spread. I mean, they're not wrong for doing it. I'm a capitalist. I am fine with people making money. But from an investment standpoint, not trading standpoint, this does not make sense as an investment at these levels, unless you are saying, I'm good holding this for 10 years, which is something I've been saying for a long time. So when people say, well, you're not selling yet, no shit. I never said I was going to sell. I've always said that this is a 5 to 10 year hold minimum because I want to be in this for the long haul. And I fully think that we're going to see fluctuations along the way. I just think that this is ridiculous and it's getting dangerous. That's all.
I agree with you, but last thing I'll say is I agree with Lee right here in the chat. We know this is not retail. And so whoever loses money here is going to be someone who manages a lot of money. It's not going to be a nurse buying at 75.
We don't know who it is.
Yeah, it might. I'm not saying retail's not totally doing this, but you can't move $10 billion in a day on retail. Like that's just not happening. That's stupid. That's not possible. Like it's not Tesla where the brand is known that well across the world. Like Palantir is still a relatively small brand.
You'd be surprised.
I'm not saying retail's not buying. I'm saying the percentage against retail being able to move the market cap like this for the past 2 weeks.
I get it. But it could also be professional traders. It could be a lot of things.
Yeah, well, if professional traders lose money, no one cares. Like, you're a professional trader. But if you're a nurse, I don't want you to lose money.
But it's all intertwined because it could be a mixture. Even if the mixture is skewed to professional, it could still be a mixture, and people may not be in front of their computer 24/7 and may not actually hit stop losses or set stop losses, and people could lose money on this. It's just stocks don't just go up. You're at this point, how much market cap are you adding with every dollar added on the share price?
2.28 billion.
Does that make any freaking sense? You're basically adding market cap that's almost equivalent of the revenue they do in a year. Every dollar.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They added 8 billion in market cap today. I'm saying I don't think retail bought 8 billion worth of shares. That's my point.
But I'm just saying that doesn't make sense.
I'm not arguing. I'm not.
Don't make sense.
I'm not saying the valuation makes sense, but
great company. They are a disruptor. Nobody can do what they do. I've been saying that for a long time. You've been saying that for a long time. But just because it is a great company that has a great product, that has a phenomenal mission, doesn't mean that things can just go haywire and continue to go haywire. At some point, this is going to stop.
All right. Well, you said 150.
What happens?
So
what happens if you get to 110 and earnings come out and they're
we probably go to 150.
Think about it like that. Like, how high does this need to go for an earnings report not to matter? We've seen Palantir not do stuff off of good earnings reports before.
Yeah, but that's when the narrative was different, bro. I think everything's changed now. I agree with you, though. Bad earnings or earnings could tank this, but maybe it doesn't. You know, we're gonna have to see.
Yeah,
all right, Steve. I'll call you on the show today. I'll talk to you on the market close, and we'll get all your thoughts tonight.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
By the way, look at NVIDIA. It's freaking sideways, and that is the buy, not Palantir right now.
All right. I'll talk to you on the close today. Get your thoughts on it.
Later.
All right, folks. Let's bring on someone who we haven't done our segment in a week. Probably Thanksgiving was last week, right? Yeah. So it's been 1 week. You guys know him. You guys love him. He's done some trades, some new trades. Got a lot of stuff to talk about. Mr. TJ, the Wheel Deal. What's up?
How are you guys?
We're doing good, man. How are you? It's been a while.
I'm good, man. Everything good. Thanksgiving good. I really missed you guys in New York, but I was going through it on a personal level, so I was not able to attend.
Yeah, we all four of us were like, it would have been a lot of fun if TJ was here, especially because you've been busting everyone's balls, just like making jokes, being who you are. But yeah, we are definitely going to meet up.
I would have ordered chicken.
Tanner said sometimes he orders chicken or fish at a steakhouse. Yeah. You're like, Tanner, what? What are you talking about? Yeah,
that's me. Anyway, so whose stash is more legendary? The little porno stash that Tanner's got going on, or I want to be looking like a terrorist, the beard when I first met you?
Oh, it's definitely Tanner, and he knows it looks weird. Like, he's like, because his girlfriend, I think, told him to shave it off, and he's like, no, I'm just keeping it. And so this is, for those that don't know, this is what TJ's talking about. But I mean, what was your reaction to Steve right here? This guy,
I couldn't stop looking at his polo shirt, bro. At his polo, at the little. Me and Steve, we're blood brothers now.
As soon as I saw him, I was like, Ralph Lauren polo. What is? And he looks like Clark Kent. He really looks like Clark Kent.
That's what us rich folks like to wear, Amit.
Oh my God, I'm never buying polo Ralph Lauren.
Dude, when you think about Roy, bro, what a wholesome dude, right? Like, we met him in Houston, just a freaking angel, bro. What a cool guy.
Nicest guy in the world, dude. Such an amazing guy. Such a good guy.
I'm so really looking forward to meeting Tanner, dude. He was all up in my DMs like a teenager and shit. And I really wanted to meet him because, I mean, this dude has done so much research for the SoFi community and fintech in general. And we all piggyback off of people like you guys. You know, I mean, nobody's done more research on Palantir than you have, in my opinion. So, Yeah, dude, it's awesome to break bread and stuff. I've been fortunate to meet a handful of people already, and I was really looking forward to that. It was a last minute thing because I got caught, dude, because my wife listens to this show a little bit, and she was like, why do you want to go to the Hood thing? I thought Hood's not, it's just a trade, it's not even an investment. And oh, bro, dude. I was like, whoa, dude, where did all that come from, man? I didn't just want to go hang out with the guys. You didn't even care about the investor day and stuff. Did she call me out, bro?
She's right. You do want to hang out with the guys more than anything.
Oh, yeah, but I was dude, I'm legit interested. We have a sizable investment in Robinhood, and I love the platform. The stock, it's a different thing, but I love the platform, and I'm kind of getting excited more and more about the stock because, I mean, dude, they became what I wanted SoFi to be before SoFi started doing it. I mean, just calling a spade a spade.
TJ, what I saw at the investor day, we'll talk about it later. I think it's time to mature that into a legit long-term hold. I really do. And there'll be ups and downs, but dude, the level of conviction I got at that thing by talking to management face to face and seeing their vision. And you saw the pitch deck. They have this 140-page slide deck on their 10-year vision. Like, it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
Pretty awesome. What I would like to do is start out with the Project X scoreboard, but I've modified it a little bit because we've been doing this segment for a while. We just kind of want to fill people in on what we started doing here at the beginning of the year. Actually, we've been going on this thing for a year, bro. I didn't even realize that until I started just like looking at the stuff I've done on YouTube. But we started this segment at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, so let me give a refresher for those that are new to the channel. So first of all, this is TJ the Wheel Deal. If you don't know him, TJ is someone who wheels options for a living. And he has taught me how to do it this year. And I'm eternally grateful for that because it's changed my life. But essentially, this is a segment we do every Friday where if you have cash in your portfolio or stocks that you want to generate income off of, there is a way in the financial derivatives part of the market where you can sell puts and sell calls and be able to generate premiums. Selling puts, very simple. You say, hey, I want to buy this stock at a lower price. I'm going to put up some cash. If the stock gets to that lower price, I have to buy the shares. If the stock doesn't get to that price, I get to keep the premium that someone gives me because they're buying the put and I'm selling them the put. And then covered calls. If you have 100 shares of a company, if you want to sell it at 50, it's at 45. You can agree to sell it at 50. Someone's buying that call from you. You're selling them that call. You're getting a premium for that. And then if the stock does go to 50, you would have to sell those shares, hopefully for a profit because your average would be below that. So that strategy, and there's a lot of nuances to that strategy we've explored throughout the entire year. And based on the scoreboard, we have made 700 grand in premiums and capital appreciation based on HIMS, Path, NVIDIA, Snowflake, Archer, Meta, American Airlines, CleanSpark, Robinhood, Palantir, a bunch of different stocks that we ended up wheeling throughout the year.
Yeah, but I changed it because we had total premiums collected and all that stuff. This is from the P&L from Robinhood saying these are realized gains or losses.
Okay.
I'm only putting the stuff on here that has been realized as of yet. So we have a lot of money that we're up, like on Robinhood, for instance, but it's not realized because we're still in the trade. You follow me?
Right.
But we legit captured and kept 701 grand in this project so far. The biggest winner was TSLL at 374,000.
Right.
Completely out of that trade. And we'll talk about why in a second. And then $101,000 on BITX. And then we're part of this CleanSpark trade at 900. I've actually made a total of 261 on CleanSpark, but a lot of that was before we started doing it together. So the reason I wanted to show this, Amit, is because it's what Warren Buffett has said over and over, that the majority of your money is going to come from a handful of stocks. But you got to play the game. You know what I mean? Because we don't know. We don't have that crystal ball. We don't know what that handful of stocks is going to be for us. But it has definitely been true for my career that I would say 70 to 80% of realized gains have come from 5 tickers or less.
Right.
And the rest of it's just kind of like honing skills, if you will. You know what I mean? Like just trying to like figure it out, like who's going to be the next Google, the next Amazon, etc. But we don't know. That's the beautiful thing about this game is we just don't. We just don't know. So anyway, let's look at the portfolio and see what's going on with it. It's been good, man. It's been a good week. Well, actually, I guess it hasn't been a good week, but it's been a good month. Yeah, it's been a real good month. It's been a real good 3 months. Then year to date, we don't crush it on here because I'm not as crazy as people think, dude. Like I really think about this thing called capital preservation as well. But we are up 63% for the year. For the last year, it's probably about the same, 68% at all time in the portfolio, around 79%. So I'm really hoping that the first double will happen within the next 6 months to a year, but I don't know what 2025 has in store.
Well, this was another reason you wanted to go to the Robinhood event because you got freaking $11 million on their platform, right? So
facts, dude. Those are facts. But I don't have any issue with Robinhood, the company. I feel like it's safe. I feel like Vlad, despite or in spite, whatever the words are, irrespective of the fact that I think he might have told at the very least a white lie on that interview with the whole GameStop fiasco back in the day. I think that they made a 180 from that, dude. And they were real young, like the company was real young. Vlad is still, how old is Vlad?
I think 37, maybe.
Yeah, dude. So I'm 49 and I'm still figuring shit out. So I know he's a CEO of a huge ass company, but bro, he's still figuring life out. He's fucking wet behind the ears still. You know what I mean? Like we learn as we go. That's just a reality. Like I think that people get lost in the sauce a little bit because these people have like really big titles and stuff, but they're still going through this life trying to figure it out day to day the same way that we are. And I don't know that he even thought that Robinhood was going to get this big that quickly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And maybe because you've interviewed him a couple of times.
Yeah, I mean, look, he was young at the time and he's matured, but like the company's executing at a different level. So I think all is forgiven when you win. Produce, and they're producing results. So.
It's a real shitty analogy, but it's very, very true. I'm gonna use two: Tiger Woods and Kobe Bryant. Amazing superstars, sports stars, but they both did shitty things on a personal level.
Yeah.
But they kept winning and all's forgiven and they're loved and everybody cried when Kobe died and the whole thing.
Yeah.
But there was a young lady named Katie Faber in Colorado that accused Kobe Bryant of rape. Those things happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
You go and you win a couple of championships after the fact, and it's like, oh, did Katie lie or not? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and y'all probably that's how much of a Lakers fan I know. I know who the girl was. You know anyway, it's those things. Anyway, let's get on to it. Where do you want to start? I want to
start with Palantir because you made a trade on Palantir that I think has been pretty successful so far. I'll explain the trade and then you can get into it. So TJ had like 30,000 shares of Palantir, sold a bunch of it, made 19. Made 600 grand in profit. He has 4,000 left. But the reason he sold all those shares is because he had a ton of covered calls that were really drowning. And he bought Leaps. And a lot of people said, DJ, buying Leaps at 65 is kind of crazy. Well, here we are. So go ahead. You can explain what's going on.
So what happened is I ended up with 4,000 shares at 33. And Robinhood's really cool now because they're giving you so many more metrics. And this is the average cost on the shares that are left. I had an average cost of like 17 or 18 bucks before the big trade, but essentially the cover calls weren't making any more money, dude. Like I was just watching the stock go up, but it would go up like $2 or $3, and on 19,000 shares, I'd make like net 300 bucks because all the money that we were making on the shares we were losing on the cover calls. So I was like, okay, this sucks. I have the delta position is no bueno for me. So I was like, let me remedy it a little bit. So I closed all the cover calls off. I sold the shares, realized a shit ton of profits. And then I was like, well, how would I play Palantir if it was my day one right now? Forget about the fact that I was in the DPO and all that stuff. Let's just pretend that it's day one now. This thing's going up. I don't know why it's continuing to go up. The valuation makes absolutely no sense. But it's going for now $75 a share, which is crazy because I have covered calls and I'm babysitting now. I did not think I was going to get in this situation, but the market can just be irrational a lot longer than you can stay solvent or you can stay sane.
Right.
That's the reality of it. So I'm not fighting the trend, dude. So to me, I was like, let me just buy the freaking Leaps. I know that I can manage cover calls at these levels because it's a lot easier for Palantir to go from 20 to 40 than it is to go from 60 to like 120. So I feel like I won't be in this situation. And it's a small loss. Like I could literally just lose like 20 grand and close out these covered calls if I think Palantir can make the next leg up to like 85 or 90, which I'm starting to think that maybe it can, because there's like this, what, NASDAQ inclusion now? Isn't that what they're talking about now? I haven't followed the story that much.
Yeah, December 13th. So that could definitely be. Now, granted, I think that's priced in. I think everyone would say a lot is priced in, but maybe it's not, so.
Yeah. So I bought the leaps for 100 grand, I think. It was 2 tranches. Yeah, it was 52 and 51. So 103 grand, give or take. And then now those leaps are currently worth 162. So up 58,000 on the leaps since I did this 2 or 3 weeks ago. And then now I am stuck a little bit on these covered calls at $69 expiring on 12/27. So this is where I need your help. When are earnings for Palantir?
Most likely first week of February.
Okay, so I am definitely going to be looking to roll one more time, maybe even for a small deficit, and I want to put like a 72 or a 73 handle on there. And then I'm going to gamble a little bit, because if there is a bubble, because a lot of people, I heard Steve a little bit on the stream earlier, if anything is going to make this thing pop, it's going to be the fundamentals, and that would be earnings coming in.
Yeah.
Because at some point, somebody's going to have to do some math. You know what I mean? Like somebody's going to have to do a little bit of arithmetic. We're not even talking about calculus here. We're talking about some very basic stuff. And I did some napkin math, and I want to say that every dollar is, dude, it's adding like over $1 billion, maybe $2 billion to this market cap, which is absolutely insane to me, considering I think this company does about $3 billion a year in revenue, right? Give or take.
2.8 billion. Yeah.
I mean, bro, I'm just saying, I didn't graduate from Rutgers. It took me 5 years to finish at UT Austin, but I ain't done. And I understand things like PE ratios and forward PE and trailing 12 months and price to sales and PEG ratios and all of that stuff. But there is such a thing as potentially overpaying for a good thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know, bro. That's why I'm not trying to like roll this thing out a year or anything like that, because I want to realize another profit if the walls come tumbling down to, I don't even know what fair market value is anymore. Is it 50? Is it 60? I don't even know, bro. Like what are your thoughts on it? Because I haven't had a chance to watch your channel too much in the last week or so.
I don't know, man. Look, I think they are going after the biggest market and the biggest technological revolution we've seen since the internet.
Right.
They're obviously the only player, in my opinion, that actually knows how to navigate LLMs outside of training LLMs, because I don't think the cost to train an LLM is going to go to zero in the next 10 years. Like LLMs are not going to be where the value is. It's going to be operationalizing them. Obviously, Palantir is going to win in that space, but they haven't shown the growth yet to justify $170 billion market cap. So I agree with you on earnings. Either they come up with 40% growth and everyone is better be ready to see triple digits, or they come with 32, 33. That's definitely gonna be over 30 in my opinion. And the market's just like, well, it's not good enough yet. We're going to take you down 10%. But I don't see that big 50% collapse coming.
Me neither.
And so I think everyone's got to be ready.
And not to interject, but it's because there's a lot of new money in Palantir, guys. Like retail was in it early, and good for us. Congratulations to all of you guys. You earned this win. But this thing is still very new to the big money. Because it's been incrementally going up, right? The institutional ownership, because this was like Tesla, right? It was a very retail heavy stock. And then now it's starting to, the institutions are starting to take over, right? Like the majority of the share ownership.
Yep.
So I think it stands to reason, again, just doing some very basic napkin math, because I'm not like a freaking super smart guy, but I'm not dumb either. Bro, the big money's moving the needle here. And they're barely getting a taste of this thing. They're going to be able to control the narrative. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, this thing's going to go wherever the big money wants it to go. And are they going to scare us out of our shares to try to get us to buy in again at like 120, 130? Like, I don't know, bro. Like, I mean, Wall Street plays some very, very dirty games, dude. So I don't know.
Well, I think your strategy is good. You sit back, you relax, you just roll your covered calls on the leaps, and that's it. And you have your 4,000 shares. You know?
Yeah.
Do you have calls on the 4,000 shares too, right?
Yeah, at $45, and I'll be rolling these until the year 20. When does Bitcoin do the 21 million? Is it 2140?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when I'll be rolling these calls.
Yo, your grandkids' grandkids will have to inherit these calls to roll.
We'll be rolling these calls, and we'll be unburdened by what has been or whatever.
You know what's funny? You know what's
I
funny?
can't resist.
Someone said the reason Palantir went from basically 30 to 75 is it's a gamma squeeze because of everyone rolling their covered calls. Like someone said that's the reason, which is it's wrong, but it's hilarious if like that could be right.
Yeah, I don't know, bro.
It's
I
wild.
don't know. The thing is the story just keeps getting better. And if the story keeps getting better, dude, we're all suckers for a good story. Dude. We've all been doing the campfire things since we're kids. And as long as the numbers can somehow justify that this is all going to come to fruition, there's a lot of people, myself included, that don't care about overpaying right now. If your time horizon is so long and you just want to be part of this thing that's so epic. Because if Palantir is legitimately going to become a $1 trillion company, which I believe that it will, probably by like 2030, the way it's going, maybe 2035 for sure. Do you really care? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you really care if you got them at 75 or 55? Is it really going to matter? Because what is $1 trillion market cap look like on Palantir for this share price? It's like four times over.
It's 500, yeah, $500 a share. Yeah.
So I'm just saying, dude, there's a lot of big money with big mindsets, is what I'm saying. And I think that a lot of times, and maybe Steve is having a hard time with it too, because I struggle with it also. It's we always try to look at it through our lens, but what about these hedge funds that have a bunch of people's money in there, and they have to explain to them why they don't have a big position in Palantir because a lot of people want that exposure. It's kind of like Bitcoin. Like, how are money managers explaining to their customers why they aren't in some freaking Bitcoin?
It's very, and I think that's the thing that you hit the nail on the head. Like, how do you justify to your clients you're not in NVIDIA, you're not in anything crypto related, you're not in anything AI like Palantir, like, and then that means you have to buy. Like, what do you do? Yeah, and we get to sit back because a lot of us got in early.
Yeah, so this is life-changing money. If you don't mind me asking, Amit, how much has your net worth gone up because of your Palantir investment?
It is a lot. I said the other day, you know, I had this rant. I don't know if you heard me, but I don't want to ever disclose my personal net worth or my portfolio, certain positions and trades here and there.
Sure.
But as you know, mine starts to go up, you start feeling a little bit scareder of saying, you know, what you're worth. I will say I'm up around 290% year to date. So that's my year-to-date performance right now. Obviously, I'm not managing $10 million like you. So my 290% is different than your 60% year-to-date.
But that's still a lot more. That's still a lot more than I'm getting percentage-wise.
Yeah. And obviously, I levered up with Robinhood options with help. Palantir was early, so that helped a lot as well. And I mean, those everyone knows that's my portfolio. 2 stocks, Palantir and Robinhood. And Grab as a recently. But why the Bay? We got to talk about Grab, okay? Yeah. But Palantir and Hood. So it's been a hell of a year. The goal is to not sell any of the Palantir stock, not sell any of the Robinhood stock, only sell the Robinhood options in January, and then take that cash and diversify into Tesla and Amazon. And that'll be kind of rolling out the 5 stock portfolio. And and Grinder, yes, 15. I still don't count Grinder as a position, but we got 1,500 shares of Grinder. Yes.
What's wrong with you?
Dude, I'm up, baby. I'm up 10%.
Grinder, huh? So you're grinding to win on Grinder.
All right, can we look at Hood and figure out how we're navigating that? And then I want to talk the TSLL trade you made after.
Oh, here we go. Okay. Sorry, I have these huge cash secure puts on Riot, and I was like, I'll close them out at this price, and I threw a price out there that I didn't think the market would go for, but they're starting to go for it.
Yeah, we'll talk about Riot too after.
Good news. Okay, so Hood is starting to become a little bit of a pain in the ass in a very, very positive way.
Yeah, the McAdams family said Grindr is in a position for me. It's a way of life. I hate you guys so much, but it's so funny that I can't deny it. But it's so funny. All right, go ahead.
So Robinhood, we got 10,000 shares at 21.17. If we just stop there, we're doing real good. Yes or no?
I think we're doing pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't like to stop there. When I screw it up, I like to screw it up real big. So what we did is I talked you into let's sell some covered calls, and we had this big old freaking debate, and I got my ass kicked, and then I got my ass kicked with the result too.
Yo, Vlad helped me kick your ass on this debate because he kept executing, baby.
Just let Vlad know that I know he does a little jiu-jitsu. I will choke the fuck out of some Vlad, bro. I'm way better at it than he is. Like, dude, calm down already. Making this amazing company, like, chill out a little bit, do some dilution or something.
No, but it's funny because when we were having that debate, and we're saying this all in good fun, but the debate was at 25. Hey, TJ, I think the catalysts are really strong. I'm scared to sell covered calls. And you said, hey, Amit, that's fine. But at the end of the day, these shares got to pay rent. And what really convinced me to be like, yeah, we should sell the covered calls is you said, it's not like SoFi to me. If the shares get called away, they get called away. It is what it is. But now I think even you didn't realize, I didn't realize over the past 2 months, the catalyst would change to such an extent where it kind of does feel like you want to hold it. And so now we're a bit emotional about it, I would say.
Yeah. Well, it's not even just emotional. It's just you're logical. You're like, okay, well, I can take this money, go put it somewhere else, hope that the investment thesis plays out, or have a little faith in what this man is saying. And I think Singapore is the next one, right?
Yep.
Because I caught like 15 minutes of the stream. So I'm like, well, that's exciting. You know, maybe one day Canada, maybe they're going to go all the way into Europe. I don't know, dude. I don't know what the plan is. I wasn't there, right? I wasn't there. So I have to rely on you guys to put out the information now. That's why it's valuable. If you have a chance, get your ass on the plane and go get the information for yourself. Save yourself a lot of trouble. But now I got to play catch up. But Crossroads is already putting stuff out. Y'all all act like journalists now. So Crossroads is putting shit out. So I can't wait to go watch what he had to say about it. I'm sure Tanner's going to sing his praises. I'm sure there's going to be 2 or 3 interviews that come out with you guys and Vlad. So I'm going to have to play catch up. But based on the smile on your face right now, it's based on what I've seen from Roy on X and whatnot, Crossroads. Great follow, guys. I highly recommend. I feel like this thing has the ability from here to go to like $100 in the next couple, 2 or 3 years, and I want to be a part of it.
I think so too. I think it's a triple-digit stock in the next couple of years. So all right. So let's figure this out. How are we going to navigate these covered calls? What are you thinking on this?
So
wait, real quick. Are we at 76? Did we hit 76?
So the
oh shit, TJ. Sorry, I got to ring the bell. We hit 76, folks. $76, folks. We hit 76. All right.
So anyway, somebody's saying something about Hood and Square for the S&P 500.
That could happen today after the bell. Yeah.
Yeah. It's probably going to be Square, but I think Hood would make more sense. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, dude. I like PayPal over Square. I like companies that make money and buy back the float. So anyway, Robinhood got to 10,000 shares. That part's good. The shares are for sale at 32, at 45, and at 29 January and February. But what is our saving grace here is I was like, okay, I want to sell covered calls, but I'm willing to also buy some leaps as protection, as a hedge to the upside, because I don't want to cheer against the stock. So even though these are causing some pain, if you will, I do know that there is an ability down the road to exercise an additional 5,000 shares over here on these leaps. So that gives
so you're not, then you don't need to roll the 32 cover.
No, I think we need to, but what I'm saying is I can still do it from a position of strength versus a position of weakness or emotion, if you will.
Right.
Because these guys right here are printing, and they are more than offsetting any pain that the cover calls are causing.
Right.
That's the reality. And I have the 45s written against these, so those aren't causing any pain either. So that part's real good. So now let's look at these. Is there a reason to roll right now? There might be. Did I honestly have not looked at this position? I didn't want to look at this position until I did it with you, because I was like, well, you know a lot more about the company than I do. So now it comes down to math. Let's look at the intrinsic value versus the extrinsic value. So we have a $32 covered call expiring a month and a half from now, or whatever it is. So this options price consists of 2 components. This 870 consists of an intrinsic value and an extrinsic value. The intrinsic value is the moneyness of the contract. So you have the 32 strike price. It's currently trading at 40. So you take that, you subtract the 32 from the 40, and that's going to give you $8. That's your intrinsic value.
Yep.
Your extrinsic value is the time value plus the implied volatility, the theta decay plus the implied volatility. In layman's term, your extrinsic value when you're a seller of options is your protection against early assignment.
Right.
That's the part that Wheelers fail to talk about, but that's why extrinsic value is so important, because that's the profit that the counterparty would have to forego if they wanted to own the shares today.
Correct.
So that 70 cents is our saving grace right now. You know what I mean? But it ain't a lot. Because a lot of people, like, when they're like, I can take ownership of these shares, sell covered calls, I'll pick up the 70. I want to own these shares now, because they don't want to wait a month, month and a half, whatever the case may be, right? So now we just got to look at rolling. Like, what would it look like to roll? We know we got to make good on the $8.70. So we just hit the roll button, and we're like, there's only two things you can add to a contract: time and money. So we're already sitting in January. So I would automatically think we'd have to go over here at the very least to May. And where does it look like we can make this 870? So it looks like it's right over here at 37 if we want to just break even. And this is the teaching segment for you guys. Whenever you roll, you have to roll on purpose with a purpose. So what is the purpose here? The purpose to me is twofold. It is to capture more premium and to qualify for more upside. Which one is more important? I think that Robinhood has shown that capital appreciation is more important than the premium, because with that amount of shares, because we're talking about 50 contracts, that's 5,000 shares. Every dollar that you roll up is $5,000 more that you're qualified for at the end of the day. But I don't want to overroll them. I don't want to overroll, meaning I don't want to roll to like 40 or 45, because then Robinhood comes crashing down to like 25 or 30. I'm stuck in this contract for a lot longer. And then the next round of cover calls isn't going to be that juicy either. You know what I mean? Right. So I think that we have to look at the macros. What do we think the market's going to do over the next 3 to 6 months? Because we're talking about adding 5 months to this contract right here. How do we feel about Bitcoin? Because we know that Bitcoin does have a direct impact on this particular ticker as well.
Yeah, I think this is the hard part about Hood as well, because they are still cyclical to an extent, right? So although they have a really good vision, if we have a little bit of a downturn, we could see some volatility in the shares. If they get into the S&P 500, that could be really good for them today as well. So maybe the floor jumps to 50 versus in the 30s. So you're essentially saying, hey, capital appreciation matters more, but there could be obviously a macro pullback, which could hurt it.
Right. So you don't want to get stuck in a situation to where you're watching your shares bleed out while you're waiting for the cover call to expire so you can start collecting rent again. So in other words, don't be so hasty, because you got to understand the entire landscape of what you're dealing with here.
Right. Right.
Because I think 3 to 5 years we're golden, but right here we're talking about a 3 to 6 month roll. It's totally different thing.
Well, do you want to, so on the options chain, this is another good teaching segment that I think you can help us with. Why are there no March or April calls? Like, should we wait until March and April comes out? Because why do we have to go all the way to May from February, from January?
Yeah, so the calls come out I think it's like every 6 months. Like, I want to say we're a month away from starting to see like the 2027s all the way to like December, if you look at the options chain.
Yeah, but there's the February, there's no March or April in 2025. And that's why I'm just like, why do we have to jump all the way to May?
Yeah,
You know?
I'm not sure why that is, to be honest.
Because I think it'd be better if we could roll to March, and not have to wait all the way until May.
Yeah, well, we can also just roll over here to February. And then we can just increment. It's the thing. Do you want to roll for a credit, or do you want to roll for a debit, right? That's like the one thing.
Okay, so that's the question. If we care about capital, if we care about share appreciation, do we just pay the debit and get out of this covered call and roll it a little higher than expected? Like, how do you think about that?
Yeah, like I don't it's reasonable because it's not a huge amount of contracts. So I'd be comfortable right in here in this $36, $37 range. Because even on a pullback, that, what's the new floor? I guess when I start thinking about all of these things, I always start thinking about what's the new floor. And I'm starting to think that $30 is the new floor for Robinhood, the little that I know about the company. Because I know a lot about the company, but I'm talking about like the direction that they're going. Because again, I was not there. I cannot emphasize how important it would have been for this position had I been there, because I would have firsthand knowledge versus just relying on you guys. And as smart as you are, it's already been proven that we only retain 7 to 10% of the information that we hear and see for the first time. You don't believe me? Go watch a movie. I want you to go home and I want you to go try to recite the movie. You're just going to get the main plots. You're going to leave a lot of the shit out because we don't retain that much information like verbatim. We just don't. A lot of people, they don't have that photographic memory.
Yeah, and I definitely couldn't even sit through the movie. So, okay, so I have a question for you. But let's figure out this call real quick. What do we want to do in the like maybe 37? Let's do that, and then I'll ask you my question.
Yeah, that's not a horrible play right there. You know, we qualify for an additional $5 in capital appreciation on 5,000 shares, right? So what is that? 25 grand?
Yeah.
So we're paying 10 to get 25. So you see how like when you start really doing the math, it doesn't sound as exciting.
Yeah, and if they get into the S&P today, you know, maybe it's a cheaper amount to pay than next week. But again, it could also.
Right, but if it doesn't, then this one maybe sounds a little bit exciting too, because it's like we get $3, that's 15. We pay 5 for the 15. It's kind of the same ratio, right? So it just depends on whatever you want to do. So that's that option. The other option, if you want to win and you're long and you just don't give a shit, you go way over here. You're like, I just want to not have any pain. I want to qualify for all the gain. And I just want to essentially turn it into a buy, hold, and hope. That's why you'll see me do this sometimes, because I can't quite figure it out on a shorter time frame, but I can in a longer time frame. It's kind of like when in doubt, zoom out. Well, for me, it's like to remove the doubt, just roll out. If you're legitimately long the stock and you are okay and you don't give a shit if this thing goes to 60, 70 right now, because you legit don't have any intentions of selling either, like right now. So that's where you have to really ask yourself, are you long the stock or not long the stock? Do you want to maintain liquidity to be able to exit the position? Because rolling out, it kills your liquidity, right? Those are the gimmies and the gotchas. But what it does give you here is a lot more capital appreciation. Like I could get $5 and I can go all the way from 32 to 40, totally remedied the trade. It's probably going to be problematic in 6 months from now if Hood is at 50 or $60. So there's always going to be gimmies and gotchas, right? Pros and cons on everything. So those are the scenarios, dude. Me personally, Amit, I think I'm comfortable like right over here and just kind of letting it play out, because we're going to have another earnings report here during that time, right?
That's true. Yeah, you could also just kind of let it play out from after earnings too. Yeah.
No. What I'm saying is I think we roll, but I'm saying we can roll after we have more information from the next earnings. But right now we roll just to get like more extrinsic value on our side.
Yeah.
And maybe a small debit and go from 32 to 35. How does that sound?
Yeah, that's fair. That is fair.
And then so we'll just put it here at 94 or 92. And then we'll see what the market does with that information. So we're basically saying, hey, we're willing to give you money, Mr. Market. We're willing to go from 32 to 35. We'll qualify for like $15,000 more in capital appreciation. We'll give you $4,600 for that. But it's really just so that we don't have to worry about this position for a while, because we're waiting on more intel, essentially. Yeah. But here's the other thing. We already know those earnings are going to be good, right? Because didn't they give y'all some numbers when y'all were over there?
Yes.
So there's that. So why would I do this? Is because the implied volatility is going to get higher whenever the earnings come. So
and then you can roll again, essentially.
Yeah, and then get more premiums theoretically.
Got it.
So it's just playing a little bit of the Greeks action. Or we could just wait and roll the dice and do it during the earnings. But again, the earnings are still well over 30 days away?
Yeah, about 3 months at this point.
Yeah. What do you think?
I think we can do it. I think also if you want to wait a little bit, you can wait. We don't have to make a decision today. We could definitely wait next week and see.
Maybe we'll ponder. But there is another one that's even worse than this one, though.
That one I can't help you with. That one, you got to roll that to 2027.
I can help me. See, whenever I get in the hole big time and I'm long the stock, bro, I just like, I don't want to mess with it. We're going to go all the way over here. Because I don't care because I'm long the stock. You know what I mean? And I want a 40 handle on, or I'd be cool at 37 too. So I get a nice little credit and I'll go up a lot. And then I'll be like, give me 70 cents.
So what TJ is doing, guys, is taking a $29 covered call. Obviously, that's deep in the money, going to 37 by 2026, receiving a $33,000 credit, $3,500 credit. And then he qualifies for $8 more of capital appreciation on 5,000 shares, which is $40,000.
And I got credit for doing that. And then now I don't have to mess with it. And then I'm not that behind the stock right now. If it pulls back, cool. There's no pressure on the covered call. If it keeps going up, I can just keep rolling that part of the position a year at a time. If I can get $7-8 a year, dude, I'm winning.
So let me ask you a question. I exercised the call for the first time in my life yesterday.
Okay, like a long call?
A long call. I had a spread. Someone called the shares for me on the short side of my spread, so I had to give them 100 shares. So that left the long side of the spread naked. So I had the opportunity to sell it for a profit or exercise.
Right.
And I wanted to exercise. I want more shares of Robinhood. So I exercised at $22. The stock yesterday was at, I think $40.60, $40.50. Let's call it that. The call premium plus the strike price was $41. So it was $19 for the $22 call plus $22. That gives you $41. The stock was at $40.50. I exercised at $22.
Right.
Was that the right decision, or should I have waited until closer to January 17th when it expires to collect more time value before exercising?
Did it actually, the time escalates the closer that you get to expiration. So textbook, it probably would have made sense to wait another week or two. But dude, you're talking about
30 cents of extrinsic value.
You're talking about stepping over dollars to pick up dimes.
Yeah.
So it's like, what did it do to you emotionally? What did it do to you psychologically? Like, did it put you in a more rest easy situation in the portfolio? If it accomplished all of those things, then it was the right trade for you. And I think that that's one thing that I really want to do a better job of teaching you guys on the channel is a lot of these moves are right for me, but they might not necessarily be the right way for you to handle them for your situation, for your hamburger stand. You are managing your hamburger stand, right?
Yeah.
And you got to do the things that make sense for you. I have a lot of time on my side. I've got a lot of money on my side. So I don't have to, like, if I disrupt cash flow, because this scenario that I'm trying to do right here with the Robinhood covered call, it disrupts cash flow. So that part of the hamburger stand no longer bringing in the cash flow. That's the reality of it. But I'm okay with it because there's plenty of other cash flows coming in. So you have to stick to your guns and manage your business accordingly to make sure that your goals and objectives are being met on a weekly or monthly basis. Because some people might be in a position where they have $100,000 or $1 million that they're working with, and they need to extract money for the car payment, for the mortgage, whatever the case may be. So doing this kind of stuff would totally disrupt your cash flow.
Yeah, I agree. And also because there's so
it all into context, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and there's so little time. Like if this was expiring in a year, it was expiring in a month, right? So there's not a lot of time left, ultimately extrinsic value, as you're saying, left on the contract itself. I also like this comment right here. John says, if the stock went down, you would have had naked calls and the price of the leap would have went down, but now you own the shares. So that also is something that helps. Yeah,
and then on Robinhood, you're not able to do anything naked, except maybe trading your underwear if you wanted to. But I'm saying you can't do naked puts or naked calls on the Robinhood platform. And you know what, dude? Kudos to Robinhood for that.
Yes, I agree.
Because there's a lot of people that have blown up their accounts doing that. Because you're talking about infinite losses, bro. Infinite.
Yeah, my uncle who's getting into wheeling, he asked me the other day, and this is how I know he's really getting into wheeling, because and by the way, he's watching your stuff as well. Like he loves you. He's watching you, trying to I send him all of our clips. And he asked me the other day, and that's how I know he's really getting into it. He's like, Amit, do I have to buy the shares to have a covered call? Like, can I do it without buying the shares? I was like, no, that's a naked call. You cannot do that. Don't get into that. Don't even think about it.
Right.
And so I think when you get to certain levels, you're like, do I really need to spend the money? But then you have to be financially disciplined and realize, you're not Warren Buffett, and even Warren Buffett has lost a lot of money. So
Sure. So anyway, we'll let it stew. We have it out there. We have it out there in the ether. We'll see what happens. I think the other one we can wait on. This one's obviously not causing any pain. If I would have been more disciplined, guys, they would all be sitting at $45 right now, and we could be on easy street. But the reason that I was willing to do that is because I knew that I was going to be buying these calls right here. So there's all of those things. Now, how else can you fix this thing now? One thing, you just take your medicine, you just buy the close cover cost, and screw it. If you think it's going to run, like if it's going to go all Palantir type, let it do it. If you're convinced that that's going to happen, I'm not willing to take that gamble. Other thing that I could do is I could just buy like some more leaps, more protection to the upside. And then there's another strategy that a lot of people implement, and that's called call credit spreads. I don't fully get it. Like the math isn't really math in my head. It's like a golf shot. It doesn't suit my eye. So I just stay away from it.
let me ask you this question that Doug has. So Doug is down 118 grand on covered calls. He has them at 40 strikes. Stock's almost at 80. Do you think he should be worried about the shares being called away? And having to
let's look at it. What is the expiration, Doug?
I think January 2026 is the one he has.
No, there's no way.
No, he sold these covered calls a while ago.
No. There's no way that they'll get called away.
Oh, there's no way they'll get called away.
They're 40 for 2026. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Where is it? Right here, this guy. So mine are at 45. So I'm not like in much better shape than Doug here, and I'm not stressed out about them at all. So there is $35, if my math serves me, about $36 in intrinsic, and there's $4 in extrinsic. So there's just no way somebody of sound mind is going to relinquish $4 in profit to take ownership of shares right now when they already have the contractual right to take them over 400 days from now. There's no dividend on Palantir. Again, you always have to go back to the incentive, right? Like, what is the incentive of the counterparty to own your shares right now? But it's like everybody thinks that their shares are that Giselle Bundchen supermodel. Like, oh my God, look at my beautiful shares. They're different than any of the other shares that you can buy in the open market right now. You just got to look at the math. You just got to look at the math. There's still, in my opinion, again, it could happen. It's happened to me before, an early assignment. But I think that Palantir would probably still have to go up to maybe like $83 or $84 before that could be become like a legitimate possibility.
Well, why 83? Why 84? Why does?
Because his extrinsic value would really start to diminish at that point. He still has his protection, right? He still has his $4 or so of protection to the against the early assignment.
Got it. But his strike is 40 though, not 45.
Yeah, I looked at the 40.
Okay. Just making sure. Okay.
I looked at the 40. So right here. So it's 40, and it's 75, right? So you subtract this number from that number, and that's about $35. But the options price is 40. So he's got about 40 or $4 or $5 of extrinsic value.
Got it.
So that is legitimate profit that the counterparty would have to relinquish, right? And I'm gonna give you all an example, because all you got to do is pretend like you're on the other side, right? So let's look at leaps, because I'm on the other side of this equation. So let's look at leaps that I'm freaking crushing it on. These guys right here, these $5 leaps. Can we agree that I have to be crushing it if I have a contract to buy these shares at $5 and SoFi is trading near 16? Is that a fair statement?
It's a pretty good trade.
Right? So here it's going to give you a thing saying, hey, do you want to exercise these? If you go over here, it's going to say exercise. And look at what this thing's going to ask you right away. This is a real good teaching segment for a lot of you people that are so damn paranoid about your shares getting called away early. Your brokerage, if it has any sense, and probably FINRA makes them do that, or the Security Exchange Commission makes Robinhood do it. I don't know if Robinhood does it just because they're all good people over there. They might be. But this thing is going to protect you from being a fucking idiot, essentially. And I'm gonna walk y'all through what I mean right here. So it says, why do you want to exercise SoFi 5 covered calls for 1/16/2026? Covering an early assignment. That would have been your case, right, Amit?
Yep.
Or not enough liquidity, or spread is too wide, or just buying stocks. I just want to buy the underlying. So that would be me right here. And then it's going to be like continue, right? And then here it's going to say contract details. Tells me what the extrinsic value is, 36 cents. So what does that mean? Is that's 36 cents in profit that I'm relinquishing. That's time value that I paid for. That I'm not going to get my money's worth because I'm just adamant about buying the shares right here, right now. And I'm going to hit continue because I'm that guy, right? And then here it's going to start telling you, should you still exercise? In these cases, you might want to sell or hold your contracts instead of exercising them. Contract is out of the money. Contract is out of the money when the underlying stock price is lower than the strike price. Extrinsic value, the time value is high. Contracts are often worth more when they're further from their expiration date. It's too expensive. When you exercise a call contract, you'll have to buy 100 underlying shares of the price. And then it gives you all the shit here. And I'm like, I'm going to continue anyway, right? So then now it's just going to give it to me one more time, right? And then now I got to put in, okay, well, how many contracts? And then I'd have to physically type in there 200 and be like, review. And then now it's going to say, you're exercising a contract to buy 100 shares of SoFi at $5 each. Please note that you won't be able to cancel this exercise once submitted. So now essentially I'd have to pony up 100 grand because I want to own these shares right now if I were to go through with this thing. You follow me?
Right.
So now why would I do it? So let's think about it. Why would I do it? Because because I just really want them in the portfolio. Like, let's just start talking about how ridiculous it is on early assignment on a non-dividend paying stock. If there's the next dividend date, if I own the shares by a certain date, now I'm qualified for that dividend. That is an incentive to do so now. But what is my incentive to tie up an additional $100,000 on SoFi stock right now? Like, what is legitimately my incentive when the leap is going to continue to print?
Yep.
I can still sell covered calls against those leaps, and I don't have to pony up $100,000 to buy the shares right now. I want you to really think about it. What is the incentive of the counterparty to own your shares that you think look like Gisele Bundchen right now? What do you think? What makes these shares so damn special that I got to own them right now when I already bought the freaking right to own these shares in January of the following year? Y'all need to start thinking about this. And I don't want to sound like an asshole, but I just need you guys to fucking understand the math if you're going to deal with derivatives. My goodness.
No, it's real because a lot of people are afraid about covered call shares getting called away. And a lot of times the math doesn't mean they should be scared, is what you're saying.
Give me a thumbs up if you think that I should be a fucking idiot right now and spend $100,000 on SoFi. When I already have the contract in place, nobody going to take this contract away from me. This contract is not going away. I already bought and paid for the damn contract. If SoFi goes to 50, I still have to buy them, or I get to buy them at 5 if I want to. Josh has a shitload of these he has to make decisions on right now. And he ain't in a hurry to pony up the money, bro. I promise you he's not. Because he's not a fucking idiot. He wouldn't have $5 million in his account. I'm just saying, dude. People hold on to their money as long as possible. And the majority of the people that buy leaps, they don't exercise them. They're just flipping the contracts. That's the reality of it. Hopefully that helps you guys out. I hope I don't push the wrong freaking button right here. I'm trying to figure out.
Can you imagine you press it? Oh, that big rant, and then you're like
$100 grand, and I'm gonna like legit be pissed off about it. I have to sell some damn covered calls on this thing to get my money back.
No, we're getting a lot of value. We're getting a lot of, because these are tough situations.
I know what happens here. Hopefully I'm out of it, dude. If not, it's whatever. I mean, luckily 100 grand didn't really move the needle in my life, but hopefully that helps you guys out. And it's with love, Doug, because Doug knows I love him. Doug gave me this cap.
Oh, Doug got you that cap? Oh, great.
Yeah, bro. Dougie Dollars, bro, got me that cap. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully that helps you guys out. That's what it looks like for the person on the other side. So as much as, dude, I'm in the money on that one, right? Like those leaps have printed for me on SoFi, but I'm not in a hurry to exercise right now. Like, why should I?
So when would you exercise?
And when we get closer to expiration, because now I know how the movie legitimately played out. So it's like you paid rent. You rented this beach house for the whole year, and you have the option to buy it. You're gonna like really let it play out, go through all the seasons, right? You already paid all the rent. You're not gonna get a reimbursement on that rent. And now you're gonna be like, no, I want to go to the closing table right now. I want this title in my name. I want the deed under my name. All this shit. I gotta pony up all this money. Like, nah, dude, I'm cool. Let me keep renting. Let me make sure the air conditioner doesn't break. Let me make sure the flooring's good. Let me make sure the foundation's good. If it was a piece of property, that's the way that you would be treating it. And to me, these are virtual pieces of property.
You know that I never told you this, but I was talking to my dad the other day, and I was teaching him about covered calls. He understands puts. He still doesn't get the calls yet. And I talked about your analogy of shares as tenants paying rent. My dad is a landlord. He has a property and he has people that pay rent. He was laughing. He was like, I've never thought of it like that. I was like, yeah, they're in your house. And sometimes you want to raise the rent. Sometimes you want to give them a free month, but you get to pick. And he loved that analogy. And I think that's the best way to think about it.
Yeah, the big kicker, though, because I've been using that analogy for a while, and a lot of the wheelers use it now, too. And I think it's a great analogy. But there is one distinction. You can legitimately rent your house and collect cash flow. Here, you have to put your shares up for sale.
Right.
That's the gimme and the gotcha, right? That's unfortunately, there's no free lunch here with covered calls. You have to put your shares up for sale.
But the amazing thing is, let's say you want to get $5,000 of rent. You can do it at the money covered call.
Yeah.
Let's say you want to get $2,000 of rent. You go more out of the money. Like there's so many ways to navigate it, I think. And that freedom is what I think also makes people excited about it.
Can we talk about Riot real quick? I know it's not an hour.
So can we first do the TSLL trade and then we'll do Riot? Because this is a big one.
Yeah.
And then we'll discuss Riot. So TJ made a big sell and then a big purchase on two stocks. So go ahead. You can explain it.
So this one here was just, all it was doing was making money. So I went from a situation that was like literally sleep well at night to one that's not as sleep well at night because there was about 182,000 reasons why I did it. So essentially I had sold 2,500 cash secure puts at 517 on TSLL.
Which is leveraged Tesla for those that don't know.
Yeah, 2 times leverage on Tesla. So Tesla goes up 5%. Theoretically, this thing's going to go up 10% and vice versa. And I was like, okay, cool. We're going to pony up $1.432 million and collect about 300 and some change in premiums.
Which is about 30%, right? In a year?
Yeah. But I gave back $205,000. You'll see it right there. Gave back 15,477, 80, and then 190. So about 205, 206. And why did I do that? Because there was not going to be another opportunity to add to this position unless I was willing to sell more cash secure puts at like 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever it was with TSO, and I didn't want to do that. And then I really want to be in the semiconductor space because we weren't able to build out a position on NVIDIA, but NVIDIA is 8% of this ETF over here that's a 3 times leverage on the semiconductors that consists of 30 companies. So you don't have exposure to just one in TSLL and Tesla. You have exposure to now 30 companies on the semiconductors like Qualcomm, Micron, Intel, things like that, NVIDIA. Companies that you heard.
So SOXL is 3x leveraged against all the semis, and TSLL is 2x leverage against Tesla. And essentially you're swapping one stock or one company for a whole sector.
Correct. So I did it, and this is what we yielded. So essentially, instead of 1.432 in collateral, I had to tie up 1.5 for the exact same time frame, but I picked up 131, 129, and 129. So $360,000, give or take, in premiums. So gave back 205, got 360 or whatever it is. And I feel not as good about this trade, but I feel good enough to where it's not really causing me any stress.
But you collected a lot more premium. So what would you not feel good against? Just because you think Tesla might outperform? Is that
No, because this one here, I went from a trade that I don't have to manage to one that I might have to manage down. But that was the reason that I did the trade, because I saw that TSLL was now going to be a one and done for me. Whereas I feel like this trade, I might be able to have it on the books for the next 2 or 3 years, because the semis as a sector, some of them are doing well, but as a sector, they're not. Like this thing's not doing well like year to date. If you look at this bad boy year to date, not really breaking any records. You follow me?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I like that about it, and the premiums were just super, super juicy. And I think that it was going to give me an opportunity to add to it, because I have a lot of cash secured puts that are expiring here in January. So I saw an opportunity to maybe tie up another $1 million, bring in more money. Like if this trade starts going against me, like it kind of did. Like I collected 650 something, 648 in credit. Like if it could get to the point where these things go against me a little bit, even though they're not at the strike price, but SOXL is trending down, I might be able to do another 400 contracts, but instead of at 25, I might be able to do them at 24, which gives me a little bit more margin of safety, if you will.
And essentially you did this because you think semis are still going to do well in 2025. That's kind of
I do. And you said it on the text, like Zucks is building what? He's putting $10 billion into this type of play.
Yeah, data centers. Yeah.
And I listened to the last earnings report on NVIDIA, dude. I thought it was pretty good. I don't think AMD is a slouch. Obviously, the slouch in the sector right now, the big one is what? Intel.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that they're hopefully going to get a real good CEO here very soon. So that was the justification for it. The other justification for it was I am in desperate need of a tax harvest loss, and I have one on the books in Intel. So I was like, well, what if I could sell this one for a loss and I still maintain all of my exposure because I'm already in the SOXL trade, and they're not going to get me for any wash sales or anything because totally different company. You follow me?
What are you thinking of? Do you think the loss is worth it, or do you think you want to hold on for them to turn around and kind of just stay with it?
So this one's not causing enough pain right now, but I'm going to really look at the tax situation over the next week or so, and I could potentially close everything out and maybe lose about 150. And then I could revisit this trade a month from now if I still want Intel in the portfolio. Chances are I may not because it's about 4 or 5% of SOXO anyway. So I would maintain that exposure.
Right. You don't need it. Yeah.
And then I could free up that money and put it into the trade that I wanted to talk about previously, which is Riot, because this thing has just been printing freaking money, dude. Like I tied up 1.3 million for 30 days and picked up $88,000 in premiums. And I started closing them out today. These expired on 12/20. These expired on 12/20. So you guys will see right here. You'll see the 8,400, the 7,300, the 8,600, the 8,600, the 8,100. You'll see all the cash secured put premium that came through the door. It was a total of $88,000, 29,000 over here, 20,000 at 11. And then I started giving back that premium. I gave back 10,400, gave back 5,000, just waiting on the other ones to clear. So I'm legit going to have locked in about $69,000 to $70,000 in realized gains. And I got into this trade about 2 weeks ago.
This has been your personal money printer. That's for sure.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. It's crazy. Riot has made over $2.5 million for me. So again, talking about how you'll make a lot of your money on a couple of tickers.
Yeah.
Riot, Marathon, Clean Spark have been my biggest money makers, and then SoFi's right after that. Well, now I take that back. Because SoFi has surpassed everything. Like I've never made more money than on SoFi, but I don't count that one because they're not all realized gains.
Right.
Yeah, but this one here, because I've done these types of trades on Riot so much since 2020 that this is just another day at the office, if you will. So I want to have more capital. So I'd like to maybe bring over the Intel money, and instead of putting 1.3 up for the next round of cash secured puts, maybe I put up 2.5, and I can make up that 50,000-60,000 very, very quickly, and then do that 2 or 3 times over, because I think this Bitcoin trade is going to be here easily for the next 3 to 6 months. So I want to keep bringing in, and then in my level of understanding on this company, even though it's not an Intel or anything, but it's just, I just happen to understand it a lot more than Intel.
Right.
So it gives you comfort, right? Because you do your homework.
Right. Yeah. I mean, whenever you know the company, you can deal with any short-term pain because you know what's happening.
Yeah. So there's that. So those were all the justifications for it. I'm just waiting to see if this one's going to close out, because I'm being like really stingy with the premium, especially because it's at $9 on the cash secured put. So I'm like, why do I have to close it out? You know what I'm saying? Like here I can close it out, just give them the $4, but I'm like kind of being a little douchey. And I'm like, no, I offered you 3 to free up $360,000 in collateral. It's 400 contracts, so it sounds kind of stupid because I can just give the other $1 and then free up the other 360. And then why is it important? Why am I trying to do it? Because have you seen the buying power since we started the show?
Yeah, it's up there. You're freeing up cash. Cash.
And it really isn't tying up, because this was like a 3.235 when I started the show. So the other monies is just the money that I paid back on Riot. So I want to be in a heavier cash position. And what I mean by that is not so much my individual cash, but I want to have less exposure to options collateral. Because if I go down the list here, I've got MicroStrategy at 275. I think that one's fine. Marathon at 22. I think that one's fine. I've got Riot, the ones that I'm waiting on. You see, I'm at 90% on those. But that's 360,000 in cash secured collateral. Right. And this is the one that's the pain, right? This is the one where I'm potentially looking at a tax harvest, or I could continue to roll and manufacture the win. Dude, like that is still on the table, but I just got to really start looking at the tax situation. Like this could be the blessing in disguise for me, because it'd be less money to give Uncle Sam, and then I can turn around and make more money on the miners anyway, have more upside in my mind, at least on the short term, and still maintain exposure because of that SOXL trade.
Right.
And that SOXL trade isn't going to punish me in any way for tax harvesting or a wash sale or anything like that. Got another 400 grand that I think is going to come free on NEO. That's at $4 for January. So that's another 400 grand that I want to maybe throw into SOXL, because that would pay me about $170,000. You know what I mean? If I throw that money over there, and then it's something that I don't really have to manage for a while. So
do we have any position on Nvidia open or no?
I recently closed everything, dude, and Nvidia's been good for us. We've made, I think, 29 grand total with Nvidia.
By the way, Nvidia's down 2% today, guys. I'm not sure why, but it is down today.
Yeah, the last trade I did was, and I texted you about it, is I did a 10 cash secured puts at 130, got 27.70, and I closed them out for 700, so realized another $2,070 there. So there's nothing on Nvidia right now. Again, it would be more semiconductor exposure. SOXL, Nvidia is like 8% of that ETF. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's on the table. We're comfortable with it. Or is there anything else that you have on your radar? Because if we look at the portfolio, the way that it stands right now, it's 12 stocks. It's SoFi, Riot, Tesla, Amazon, PayPal, Intel, Hood, Palantir. Those are the investments. And then on the bottom, I have swing trades. I have a swing trade on NEO. I've got this covered strangle that I'm running on Marathon. I've got a swing trade on Pfizer and a swing trade on Alibaba. And these are all, like, by the end of the year, I should be out of all of these, considering leaving Marathon on the books, because I forgot how easy money it is, because this is another company that has made me a lot of money over the years, and they've implemented the strategy, if you will, with the convertible thing.
Yep.
So they're kind of like a mini MicroStrategy now, but they also have the underlying business, which is mining Bitcoin, and they're doing it at a much faster clip than even Riot. So, maybe the Intel money goes over here. And how much more money could that thing make me? You know what I mean? Because just like buying the shares outright at these levels and selling covered calls, I'm gonna get a shitload of premiums that would wipe off a lot of the losses from Intel. And then this day goes from wherever it's trading now, 26 and some change, and it goes to 40. If I take all the Intel money, put it over here, I just got my money back. Because the one thing that I've learned, Amit, is if you're down money on one stock, you don't have to go get it back on that same stock.
Correct.
Because that is something that I learned from a lady named Melissa Lee on CNBC. She said it in 2020.
Yeah.
And then also, like, if you were going after the double on a stock, let's say it was like you thought you were going to get your double from 20 to 40, but then there's a retracement and you manage your bankroll well, what if you were meant to get your double from 10 to 20?
Right.
Because a lot of people, that happened with Palantir, right? You got caught early on at 25, 30 bucks. And then you got smart. You followed the company, and then you went real heavy in that $6, $7 range, and you ended up getting all of your money, even though your initial bullet was off. And that's why they adjust the scopes, bro. That's why you adjust the gun whenever you're doing your tweaks and stuff. Your first one's not going to be a bullseye, bro. That's the reality of investing. Like, I don't know why so many people, myself included, have been so hard on ourselves because we missed on the first bullet. What's one thing that you're good at, Amit, besides debating? And something else that ends with 80.
I did talking. I don't know. Is that the same thing as debating?
No, I'm saying, what's something that you're good at? I mean, you have like a hobby that you're good. What's something that you're good at that you probably sucked at when you first started?
Something I'm good at that I sucked at when I first started. Dude, all I do is talk. Like, I really don't.
I'm going to give you one that I think you sucked at when you first started. A lot of people don't know. You used to have another YouTube channel, right?
I did.
Did you? Did you do something on YouTube and it didn't like catch on at first? Because you didn't start day one and you were just covering Palantir. How did that talk?
Dude, I started a YouTube channel in 2009, bro. I've been having so many random YouTube channels. Oh, basketball. Well, I'm not good at basketball now. Yeah, I think I started podcasts years ago, random stuff, right?
You were talking to Tom Nash and you said it didn't take off for you. He said he did something in like the video game space and nobody cared. And now Tom Nash is Tom Nash, right?
Yeah.
YouTube. He's so famous, we don't know what his real name is. So what I'm saying is you got real good at YouTube, in my opinion. You're really a lot better at this thing than I am. But you didn't start off like having, how many people are watching right now? Because I don't see that on my end.
1,870.
You didn't have 1,800, dude. I was following you when you were like excited about the 200 or 300 people. You sound the way that I sound right now when I have 150 on my stream. I'm like, dude, I want to order pizzas for everybody. I'm like, Oprah, you get a pizza, you get a pizza. So I'm saying is you got good at it because you stuck with it. You know what I mean?
Well, it takes time. Same thing with investing, right? Like I sucked at investing too, and I think I'm getting a little bit better. But I see your point is if you buy stock at 25 and it goes to 17, you can't like cry over that, right?
Yeah.
Like it's you got this is what people are complaining about Rocket Lab at 23. And I'm like, Rocket Lab was at $4 this year, right? It's like we can't complain over these small little ups and downs, but long term, if you're in it to win it, then you can, as you say, manufacture the win.
Let's just spitball a little bit because I got to run, dude. What are some stocks that are on the horizon for you? I know that you're excited about Grab. Is that the one?
Dude,
I've been in Grab before. What do you like about it?
There's a lot, but at its core, I think it's a really simple growth story that all the analysts are on board with. The only downgrades they've been giving them is that the stock is rising too quickly. They're profitable. The founder is amazing. EBITDA margins are up. They're buying back $500 million worth of stock. They have 4 billion shares outstanding, so it's not going to easily get to $10. But I do think in 2 years.
You give the 1-minute elevator pitch on what it is for those.
Yeah, so it's Uber's. It's Southeast Asia's Uber, and it's more than Uber because not only do they do ride hailing, they do food delivery, grocery delivery. They also are a bank, so they're giving out loans. They're an advertising platform. Think of China's WeChat for Southeast Asia. And 42 million users per month using Grab as their WeChat. And the verticals they're going to grow into are huge. And the biggest pitch to you, honestly, TJ, it's a $20 billion market cap, less than that today, with $6 billion in cash. So every 60 cents you're buying on 518 is cash. I think this is one of the, like, I don't want to say it's easy. I just think the growth story makes sense. And I also think the founder, I'll send you some clips of him.
What's their debt look like? I know
Zero debt. They don't have debt.
They don't have any debt.
They don't have any debt. And the founder.
How did they get the $6 billion? Because like the one thing that people never talked about with Palantir when they were coming up is how did they get their $2 billion on the balance sheet?
So they had a $4.5 billion IPO or a SPAC, I guess, in 2021. So they raised a shit ton of money from the de-SPACing. I wasn't in it during the SPAC, so I don't really care. A lot of people lost money in that. That sucks for them. But I'm getting in it when after 2 years of, it being crushed. But the reason might not be the best for you, and this might just be an all shares thing, is their premiums are non-existent. Like, as you can see right here, there really is not.
It's like this is why I didn't get into Robinhood early, because the option exchange was horrible. But same thing with Rocket Labs. There was a lot of them, like they have like the 5-cent increments and all that stuff, and they only have monthlies and all that. But that's an evolution that I'm going through as a wheeler is. Let's not forget that capital appreciation is still the easiest way to make money in the stock market.
I have no options on Grab. This is one where I don't want to do any spreads, don't want to do any leaps. I want to buy it at 5 and I want to see it at 10 in 2 years, and I want to get 10,000 shares for myself. And then if it gets to 10, I think it's going to 15 after that. But I'm willing to hold it because I'm also betting on Singapore and Malaysia, as my uncle says right in the chat. It's a synonym for taxi. Like the amount of people that have messaged me that have traveled to Southeast Asia and say Grab is the only thing that they use. And now they're profitable. They're profitable. They're fine. They're making some money, like real net income.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I think it's a good story. But it will have ups and downs. I could see it going back below 4, but I could also see it getting closer to 7 by the end of the year or by the end of next year.
Very cool. What does the chat think about me closing Intel for a loss and moving that money over to Marathon? Because I feel like I would go make that money with Marathon in 90 days. I don't know.
Let me paint the scenario. So guys, he would be selling Intel. You'd lose 130 or 150, whatever. You'd take 600 of the cash.
Yeah.
And you'd go sell puts on Marathon with that 600.
I'd buy like $300,000 worth of Marathon and sell cover calls on that, and then sell cash secure puts on the rest of it. So I'd run the coverage strangle on it. Essentially what I'm doing now, but 10x the position.
Let's do a poll. Let's see what people say. I would vote yes for that only because Marathon, if you said CleanSpark or like any of the other miners, I would say maybe not. But Marathon legit has a strategy where if Bitcoin goes up, they're going to benefit from volatility because of.
And keep in mind, I can always get back in.
And also, you already have a ton of clear.
I just have to pay my probationary period, right? It's 30 days. I do 31 just to be safe. So this isn't about me like being totally bearish on Intel. This is just a tax move. That's it. Because I think, for the record, Intel will have a 3 in front of it probably within the next 6 months. So, but this is just a calculated gamble. And if Intel bounces $2 or $3 during that time, well, I'm going to go make that easily on premiums anyway with the Marathon, and I can have even more exposure to this Marathon play.
70% are saying yes, sell Intel for Marathon.
Interesting.
Well,
I almost did it. Intel was like 25 something when the whole Pat Gelsinger, did I say his name right?
Yeah.
When he, quote unquote, retired.
He was definitely fired, bro. The board pushed him out. I don't think dude, he did an interview with Bloomberg 3 days before he got fired. And they were asking him like, so blah, 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 blah. It's like a normal interview. And then he's gone.
Yeah. So this would just be a trade because I'm long one miner, and that's Marathon or Riot. So this would just be like legit swing trading, trying to get my money back. But seeing what happens with this convertible thing, because people are like really, really excited about it, I don't still fully understand it. And then I also have 200 cash secure puts on CleanSpark that I don't ever talk about right now because they're $8 for January and there's nothing to talk about. It's so out of the money. It's just, I'm just collecting data decay.
And you sold those when it was 9. So
no. These are recently. These are very recent. On the CleanSpark, I did these after they dumped on earnings. Because I read one tweet that said it was a horrible call. I guess Zach is his name, right? The CEO. And I was like, oh, cool. But I saw the numbers and I'm like, they didn't look bad to me because I followed this company for a couple of years now. And I was just like, well, I'll sell 200 cash secure puts at 10 and the market gave me 24,394 at $8. I'm sorry. Did that on December the 3rd and already 33% on those cash secured puts. So I'm just kind of waiting. It's a very boring trade, but it was 160,000 in collateral for a few months though. So if I can get closer to 50%, I'd like to just get out of there with like a $10,000, $11,000 win so that I don't have to be in it until March. So I could just kind of free up the money and do something more shorter term. But I just thought it was a little cash grab to be had there. Did one on Dollar General here recently as well, made like 3,200.
Yeah, they just had earnings as well, or Dollar Tree, one of those.
Yeah, how was it? I was out of it before the earnings because I was already up like 50% on the trade.
Well, Dollar Tree,
Dollar General, DG was
DG.
Yeah,
it was good. It went from. It looks like they were up 10% yesterday.
Oh,
Go to 1 week. Go to 1 week. It was decent earnings.
Yeah, so I got rid of them a day early. Yeah, because I got 64.75 and then I gave back 32.50. So I locked in a pretty decent win in 10 days or whatever that is. But I could have gotten, maybe an extra 500 or so if I would have waited a little bit, but I didn't want to ride it out through earnings, and only because I just didn't. I wasn't going to be able to listen to the call or anything. I was busy on a personal level.
Yeah.
So and as it's 2 new positions, I wasn't emotionally invested. And I didn't want to invest any time. I was just like, I can make a quick $3,000, call it good.
All right. Well,
anyway, you want to do the word of the day, brother? I got to go get rocking, dude. I've been working out and eating cleaner and meat. You see these little Popeyes are coming back, dude.
Oh wow, there you go. No, you've been taking your health seriously, which is good because you're making a lot of money, but you got to be able to, enjoy it.
We're really considering mini wheel deals, Kristen and I.
What's a mini wheel deal?
A baby.
Whoa, that's big news. I was like, what is a mini wheel deal? What is that?
I want to get in the best shape of my life again. Because, dude, we have the little dog, and he's wearing me out. We got 2 of them now. So I'm like, dude, what's little Bambino going to do? You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I'm not just going to hire somebody to raise my kid, dude. Like, I'm hands-on, dude. Like, I was hands-on with Jeremiah and Isabella, and I would like to be hands-on again.
So you wouldn't mind being a father again and going through that whole process. You would
because she's not done it, bro. And as her husband, if that's what she wants, or what mama wants, mama gets. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right. She hasn't done it before. You're right. Yeah.
I would definitely do it again, especially with her. Dude, I think it would be an amazing journey. And she'd be such a good mom, bro. She's so fucking loving compared to me. I'm the asshole. Like, the kid's gonna hate me, but love her. You know what I mean? Because he's gonna get disciplined for me. Kristen's gonna be her friend or his friend. I'm like, you want to be your friend? You go talk to mom. Like, I'm gonna tell you how it really is. And I think it'll just be cool. Like, I think we'll definitely good cop, bad cop the whole thing.
Oh, it do. But kids, it's the whole. I mean, a lot of people argue the point of life is to reproduce and have family and kids and. Also, I think you would be teaching them how to, like, that kid's gonna be like worth a fucking $1 billion given the wheeling they're gonna learn at 10 years old. Like, I think it would be a special journey.
Yeah,
cool.
I think it'll be awesome. I just really think that Kristen would be an amazing mom.
Yeah, I think so as well. Scuttle is the word of the day.
Scuttle.
To run with quick and hasty steps. All right. If we have a little mini wheel deal, he'll be scuttling around your house.
Scuttling, bro, pushing all these buttons. I might not be able to go live as often.
Oh, you're definitely not gonna be, but he's gonna be telling you which stock you're gonna have a stock pick. He's gonna know about it. He's gonna tell mom. His mom's gonna try to convince him to tell you to get out of that stock pick. Like it's gonna be the whole thing.
Kristen is the biggest devil's advocate I have. Dude, I live with a perma bear, dude. It was so hard to sell her on Tesla. Dude, she researched Tesla for 6 months, before she gave me the green light on it.
I remember you did a podcast with
Carlos. Yeah, Carlos and Tevez.
And she was asking them questions, and Carlos was like trying to pitch it. Like,
yeah, bro, she's not an easy sell. She was not an easy sell. She's not an easy sell on SoFi. I still low key don't think she's 100% convinced on SoFi. She's a bigger fan of Nubank. She's a bigger fan of Nubank because she knows David personally.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm not a fan of Nubank. Y'all seen that dude, yo? Fuck him. I mean, this is a good looking dude. He's a freaking bazillionaire now, dude.
This is
he's a real polite gentleman. Real polite gentleman.
Well, SoFi's done pretty damn well, regardless.
And he was also an econ major. They were econ together at Stanford. Yeah,
bro. If my girl wants me to invest in a stock because of the CEO, I'm like, get the fuck out. I'm not touching that stock. Like, get out of here, bro.
He's not even the fact that he's good looking, dude. He's a freaking super polite person and stuff. Comes from a extremely well-to-do family from Colombia and Brazil. Yeah, he's a stand-up guy. Everything that I've heard,
you gotta find some dirt on him, bro, and tell him like
nothing, bro. Kristen said he never hit on me in college. It wasn't anything like that. This guy was just polite and courteous. We all knew that he was going to do big things with his life. So she got nothing bad to say about him. That's what makes me hate him even more. So anyway, yeah, dude, it's Nubank's got it going on. They're gonna go through some rough waters, I think, though, for the next year or so, because they're doing some cutbacks over there. So that might be an opportunity if you guys have been looking at jumping in. It might give you that second chance, if you will.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, maybe I'll let the pride go before the fall. Maybe I'll swallow my pride and eat some humble pie and jump on the beads, as Tanner says.
Yeah, Tanner's been bullish Nubank for a very long time. So
yeah, I mean, they grow a lot faster than SoFi does. So
yeah,
they make a lot of money, bro. We'll see what happens. I got to run, man. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. I got to get rocking and rolling.
All right, real quick, TJ's Twitter right here in the chat. Let me put it there so you guys can follow him there. TJ is at 19.9, which means if 100 of you give him a follow right here, he will hit the 20K. Can you give us the exact number? Hold on, I can tell the exact number. 19.974. So 26 of you, if you can follow TJ right now, we will hit 20,000 for TJ, which is a hell of an accomplishment, bro. I think this was like 1,000, not even a year ago, like 7 months ago, maybe.
I got like 10 of these people that are using our profile pic and telling y'all to go to Telegram. I don't have Telegram or any of that, dude. Don't fall into any of that crap, dude. I ain't trying to take anybody's money. I don't know why people do that, dude. I imagine you must have like 100 of these stupid little robot deals.
Yeah, it's bad, dude. And some people actually fall for them. They were like, Amit, I thought you were talking to me. I'm like, no, I was not talking.
Yeah, dude. People are saying like I'm all like DMing them and stuff, and I'm like, dude, I've got maybe like 10 open DMs on X, and that's it. Like that's not even my go-to platform for that kind of thing. All I do is just screenshot on there, trying to drive people to the YouTube audience.
Yeah. All right. TJ, you are up. There it is. There it is.
Dang, dude. Appreciate
there it. There it is. 20,000. I got to ring the bell for that, TJ.
That was the goal for the year. So that'll pay us like $20 a month. Y'all know Twitter don't pay any money like YouTube.
I'll pay like $20. But dude, 20,000.
You get great trades, dude. Like my Twitter, I mean, your Twitter community is amazing too. Dude, but dude, the people on there, dude, like they post like legit, well thought of stuff. I mean, at the end of every market close, Amit write Psalm 23 on there for us. And, and 5 things happened on the market today. High level. One, Palantir hit 73.46 at 6 p.m. I rang the cowbell 6 times.
You're not wrong.
Oh, bro. Like,
No, but there's a lot of information. There's a lot of good information on the platform.
Yeah, no, there really is, dude. There really, really is. There's a handful of folks that I just go real quickly to see what they're, because they post their trades, right? So I'm like, I try to do a little copy action too if I can.
Yeah.
And then Tevez has a way. I don't know. He was showing me like how he hits like a SoFi tab and it's like data driven and everybody like all their shit that they're talking about SoFi.
Yeah, you can make a list. You can make a list on Twitter.
Yeah, so I haven't done all that. So I got to learn how to do that. That way I can just get the pertinent info versus like, just getting like the minutia that isn't going to actually do anything. Because I did that to myself because I started following like the UFC and shit that has nothing to do with stocks. And then if you click on something, the algorithm starts feeding you that shit.
That's why Chris's Twitter has a bunch of these Asian chicks all in his feed. We're like, oh, we know what you're looking at, Chris.
Yeah, Chris was texting me late last night. He was super bullish on the cruise lines still.
Yeah.
Super bullish on the cruise lines. I made money on Norwegian and Royal during the COVID. Royal Caribbean's the one that like shot up more than the other ones. And then I liked it in like that $15, $16 range. I looked at him last night though. Did Norwegian's already like $25, $26. So he was definitely right on those trades.
Yeah, you got the cruise lines right. He called them back at like $14.
Yeah, so we'll see, man. Well, anyway, I got to rock and roll. I'm gonna go grab a workout, and then I've got to see if I'm gonna have to start rolling this stupid Palantir cover call again, yo. Like, dude, like what is wrong with the Palantir, dude? This is just it's so beautiful to see though, dude. Like it's so beautiful to see because I feel like there is a world where they can totally justify these numbers and it's not that far away. It could be 18 months.
I think so too.
And then what's gonna happen? They're gonna price in the next rung up the ladder and the next one. And I think it's just one of those stocks that's destined to be very expensive for the next 10 years.
Oh, this is gonna be expensive forever. There's like even with a pullback, it's like unless the growth goes Nvidia level, which it could happen. But even then, at this market cap, Nvidia level growth, it would be like, all right, justifying it, right? But if they put Nvidia level growth, the market's going to give it even more. So it's like,
yeah,
it's one of those things you have to get in early. And now we're all going to have to average up a little bit if we want more shares. And it is what it is.
It's tough, man. It's tough because it goes up to 85 and you're like, oh my God, it just pulled back to 75. But you said that at 65. And you know what I'm saying? Like the averaging up is one of the hardest things in the stock market.
And I didn't average up enough on Palantir at 35, but I didn't make that mistake on Robinhood. At Robinhood, every dollar up, I was like, no, this is strength. This is not fear. And I bought. So you learn from mistakes as well, right? And you get better on the next one every time.
Yeah, dude, it's so much easier to average down and just think about that for a second. I'll leave you guys with that. Why are we so much more eager and willing to throw money at a loser versus a winner? Like, what is wrong with us? And I'm talking to me, bro. Like, I'm pointing at y'all, and I got 3 coming back at me. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the hell is wrong with us, dude? Why am I like, dude, I'll go buy NEO if it goes to $4 a lot faster than I'll go buy Palantir, one that the whole world loves some Palantir right now. I don't know what it is, dude. It's just, I think it's the idea of, oh, you're getting a better deal, so to speak.
Yeah, and in reality, if the market's paying for a premium stock, you should be wanting to pay a little bit more for something that's going to sleep well at night. That's the other thing, the sleep well at night idea. Oh, the other one we missed, bro, Shopify. We were wheeling at 65. Should have went long on that. We missed both of that on that one.
Yeah, we'll do that episode. I wanted to do it. It's like, what would we have played differently? Because obviously we're showing the success of the experiment, if you will. I call it Project X. But dude, we could have done Shopify differently. We could have, there's probably 3 or 4 tickers that I can think of that, hell, even Snow, we could have probably done differently. And this thing could be up a lot more money. So there are some shortcomings to wheeling or is it shortcomings of the wheeler? Right.
Right.
Because you have the stock and you have the jockey. And I think that the stocks are going to do their thing. You got to really learn how to become a better jockey. And that is what I work on all the time is like, how can I get better at selling puts and calls? Because you can give the ticker in the same scenario to 3 or 4 different wheelers and get 3 or 4 different results.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if a lot of people understand that.
Yeah. Agreed.
And so, you have the stock and you got the jockey, bro. And so I think that we all got to aspire. If you're going to sell puts and calls, like try to get good at it. Because I feel like I feel like objectively grade myself where I am today versus when I started in 2020 full time. I'd say I'm probably like at 55 to 60% of where I aspire to be. So there's still a lot of learning and earning, but don't forget to earn as you learn, right?
Right. So I was gonna say last thing, TJ. Next Friday, I'm gonna be out of the state, so we can't do our session. Can we do it on Thursday if you're free? And can we discuss, because we need to do this episode, the spreadsheet? You got to give us an hour on how do you actually manage the wheeling spreadsheet. And
yeah, we're good because we go on vacation after that. We're supposed to go to Utah, but the whole family wanted to go to Torrey Pines because Kristen and I went recently, and it's like, oh, we all want to go there now. And so now my Utah trip got postponed by a whole year. So we're going
when are you going to Torrey Pines?
To La Jolla. I think it's like in 15th.
Okay, cool.
We're there for like a week and a half, and Kristen already laid the hammer, dude. She won't let me go on YouTube when we're on vacation. I tried last time, and we like fought about it, dude, because I was with Finance Junkies, and I'd already given Carlos my word, and I literally canceled on him, dude, like 5 minutes before we were gonna go live, and I feel like such a dick, dude.
Yeah, dude, but on vacation, I can understand wifey.
But dude, she could have just told me, and I could have let him know. You know what I'm saying? So I'm cool, like getting the laptop ready, trying, you're in a hotel trying to figure out any type of lighting because these things aren't really made for YouTube. And then Chris was like, what do you do? I was like, baby, I've been telling you that I got this finance. It's only going to be an hour and trying to sell her on it. He's like, oh, hell no. I got reservations down there. We're going to go. I was like, oh, dude. So I'm sitting there messaging Carlos, letting him know that I'm definitely not the man of the house, bro. She totally took my man card away.
Happy wife, happy life. All right, so on Thursday we'll do it.
Appreciate each and every one of you guys, man. God bless you guys.
Yeah, we'll meet Thursday. We'll do our segment on the spreadsheet, and we'll talk from then. Thank you, TJ. We appreciate you. Congrats on 20K. See you next time.
Take care, man. Appreciate you.
Bye-bye. All right, folks. Long stream, 3 hours and 20 minutes. I didn't even realize we've been going for 3 hours, but 3 hours, 76.27 on Palantir. I don't have the words. I don't think any of you have the words. Are we gonna hit 77 today? Later, maybe. We'll see on the market close. I'll be live. Maybe it happens. Maybe it doesn't. Robinhood, S&P 500. I think there's a good shot, dude. I really think there's a good shot. We will find out later. 5:15. So I'll be live at the end of the day, and we'll see if that happens. And yeah, dude, we're here. I mean, we are up in terms of market cap. To give you guys some perspective, we are up around, basically rounding up 10 billion in market cap. Went from 163 to 173. Up 6% on the day. Year to date, Palantir stock, I think it is outperforming pretty much everything except AppLovin. That thing is crazy, but 359% year to date. I mean, it's just, it's incredible, dude. It's incredible. I didn't expect this. I don't think Karp expected this. I don't think the company expected this, but it's happening. And, now they have to live up to the expectations. And I know that's probably creating a lot of pressure for them as well. But I think they're ready to step up to that moment. Because look, realistically, and I said this before, but I think it matters even more at 76. Even if Palantir went back down to 50, I would not blame the company. I would not blame leadership. I would not blame the market. I would blame nothing other than things got up there and the market kind of corrected itself back down off of any metric that the market didn't like. Even if it goes to 45, I'd be like, yeah, whatever. Right. So I think Palantir has some leeway where the stock could fall. And I don't think anyone's going to be looking at Karp like he's doing a bad job. It's more so just like, yeah, it went up really quick and no one expected it. But because it went up so quick, I think the fall might not be as bad because there's so many people that want to get in. Like if it goes back to 70, is that a dip from 76? Not really, but people will think of it as a dip, right? And we've been saying that since 50. If it goes from 40 to 45 from 50, is that a dip? Not really. But now 45 would be the biggest dip ever for Palantir in the past year. So I think the bar keeps getting raised. And if they even kind of get to 40% growth next year, and the Booz Allen Hamilton deal today, the FedRAMP deal the other day, the Shield AI deal yesterday, all these different deals that solidify or start to solidify their moat in the government, along with David Sachs, JD Vance, Peter Thiel, all that connection, the Doge thing. There's obviously a lot of catalysts for Palantir, and I think that's what the market is really looking at right now. All right. I think that's it for me. Thank you, everybody. We'll be back on the market close. We'll see if Robinhood gets into the S&P 500, where Palantir closes for the day. And we will keep going from there. Thank you, everybody, for being part of the journey for the past week. Been a cool couple days meeting Vlad, Karp, getting to meet the company, leadership, all that stuff, getting to go to those events. Palantir Weekly will be tonight at 11 p.m. We'll obviously have a lot to talk about. And we still got the market close, and we'll see kind of how this week ends up. All right, let's see. Maybe Robinhood, S&P 500, maybe. We will find out. 5:15 today, and we'll see where Palantir goes as well. Thank you, everybody. Have a good one. I'll see you guys in a few hours. Bye, everyone.